Hello? Hello? Is anybody here?
I'll be with you in a minute, sir. I'm just waxing this buffalo. It won't keep still, flailing about like an enraged Paula Abdul. I'll be with you in just 1 minute, sir. Now, where did I put that brick?
Oh, must have misheard that.
Time passes. Right now, sir, how may I help?
What's that?
Oh, it's a little bit of brain. I'll wipe it off later. I have a magic Romanian trick for getting brain out of corduroy that involves draining the glands of an elk and some rainwater.
I see. Well, anyway, I wanted some art for my walls. What do you have?
Art for the walls, you say? Art for the walls. Well, my. You have come to the right place.
Well, I hope so. The shop is called We Sell Art. Art is what we sell, but I see very few things on display.
What are you talking about? The whole shop is filled with art.
If I'm honest, I thought I'd wandered into the Marquis de Sade's living room or some sort of museum curated by Crispin Glover.
I will take both of those descriptions as an ironic compliment and direct your simplistic and proletarian gaze to this exquisite piece by Danish artist Jorm Flannel. Fascinating fellow, lost all his teeth in a cockfight with Lance Henriksen.
I mean, what's it meant to be? It looks like an upturned fez filled with jelly and a little sandcastle flag inserted on which is crudely scrawled, "Fuck the police."
Well, that's exactly what it is. And if Sir has to ask what it's meant to be, I see you're not ready for such an extreme, groundbreaking and challenging piece of work. Maybe we should take you over to the beginner's corner.
Well, I mean, how would I even affix it to the wall?
It would be a conversation starter.
A conversation starter? A conversation starter? I think you mean an intervention starter. My sister would have me marched off to the funny farm if I had that thing on my coffee table.
Not a wise person, your sister, then.
What's it called, anyway?
Well, if you must know, it's called Tuba Without a Face. It's a pun.
No, it isn't.
I'm ceasing this conversation because I lost interest in it several moments ago. Anyway, will you look at this piece? You want something for your wall? Surely this would look magnificent above some flying ducks or whatever else dingy, beige, outdated drivel you have in your hovel of a pleb's house.
I'm sorry?
Nothing, you cross-eyed little twerp. Look, isn't it pretty?
What is it?
What do you mean, what is it? What is it? It's a squirrel in a little Bo-Peep costume, anally pleasuring a dachshund, rendered in bronze and finger-painted by several small blind children.
Right, but why?
Oh, well, it's meant to symbolise man's inability to confront one's past.
How does it do that, then?
Well, look, do you see the lollipop the squirrel is waving about? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? This is like kindergarten art.
Well, what's wrong with that? Nice painting of a seaside. I like that. Very peaceful. Why is that not on the wall, prominently displayed? Can I buy that?
First of all, that's my aunt's. And secondly, it's not a painting. It's actually a broken diner tray nailed into the back of a dwarf, rendered in plaster of Paris foam and eggshells, and as you can see, he's taking all his gold to the piano merchant at the market who has broken all the black keys in protest to a dreary pop song from the 80s. Okay, let's stop the tape there. All right, Alan, you've got 35 points on the board. Get this right and you'll be going home tonight with the fridge, the glass replica of Jim Broadbent, the antique tankard full of Ernest Borgnine's preserved piss, a copy of the 1812 Overture played on kazoo by a disgruntled bricklayer from Paraguay, and a full £50 in milk coupons. Are you nervous?
Yes, Jeff.
And are you ready for the question now?
As I'll ever be.
Okay, so, based on the clip we all just watched with our eyes, which 1873 ship's captain became famous for writing the book on which the name of the shop's sign painter was based?
What?
Now, take your time, there's 30 seconds on the clock.
But they didn't say any of that in the clip.
15 seconds. Well, sorry, Alan, I lied. There was only 5 seconds left, and so I'm sorry, you lose everything. The fridge, Broadbent, the piss, 1812, kazoo, Teasmade, stuffed badger, coupons, the duck, the brightly coloured overalls, Dennehy on the swing bin, 17 pence in old money, and all your dignity. Still, thank you for playing Clip Wars with us here this evening, and all that remains is for me to thank all the listeners at home. Pull this lever and laugh manically as you slide down a tube into a pit full of angry shaved bears.
Wait, what?
Good night.
You're listening to Radio Flange Goblet.
It's time for the show, which the National Board of Health have decreed should only reasonably be listened to in 5-second bursts, with rigorous bouts of acrobatic sex in between, preferably to the strains of some sassy, rocked-up 90s action movie, country and western music. The After-Movie Diner, which this week comes from within the mind of Annie Smelthelmet, inventor of the electronic milking device they sometimes use on people who have been very, very naughty indeed in boardrooms with too much ham. Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the After Movie Diner. And we're just going to have a few comments from the internet to start the show. We asked a question on the Facebook page and the Twitter feed, and we got some feedback. So I'd like to read that for you now. Commenting on the internet, they're commenting all over the internet and not all over my face. With his thighs completely glazed in yogurt. Okay, so today's topic for feedback from the internet is any favourite films featuring one-time wrestlers and any really bad ones that you love. Anyway, Tom Obaski wrote, Hell Comes to Frogtown with Rowdy Roddy Piper definitely falls into the latter category. Well, you'll hear later on in the show that's also one that Doug was preparing to cover on the show. So we will definitely be doing an episode on Hell Comes to Frogtown down the road. Okay, Joe Gazebo Mazzotta writes, I recently had a chance to view a local Pittsburgh film called Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies that starred Shane Douglas, Roddy Piper, Matt Hardy, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Kurt Angle. That was surprisingly a fun romp. And so I have decided that that is one that we will do for the show. Going over to Twitter now. That's better. Okay, so Jeffrey X. Martin, who goes on Twitter by @JeffreyXMartin, he writes, They Live, of course, comes to mind immediately. I also love Santa's Sleigh with Bill Goldberg. To which I responded, They Live is the obvious one, but also probably the greatest one. Jeffrey X. Martin said, No doubt, it's a shame Piper didn't move upward from there instead of settling into Billy Blank's buddy cop flicks. TLA Cult, the Philadelphia-based purveyor of gore and titty movies, absolute wonderful independent cult movie vendor. Please do check them out over at tlacult.com. And they wrote, at TLA Cult, They Live is great, but The Princess Bride will always be number one for me. Jeffrey X. Martin, he said, I may also be one of the few who really enjoyed 12 Rounds. That's with John Cena. Then Paul Costello also suggested The Princess Bride. And Mark McDonald from Schlock Treatment wondered if we were going to cover The Predator, to which I said probably not, because it's predominantly Arnie and probably more suited to the Dr. Action and Kick-Ass Kid show. And then I said we may, however, be covering Princess Bride, to which he said, man, you're nixing everything that's good. I guess that just leaves Dwayne Johnson in The Tooth Fairy. Well, I can't say that we have any plans to do The Tooth Fairy, but watch this space. You never know. Tabitha, put that down. Anyway, we've got some reviews as well on iTunes, and I want to urge everybody, please, please, please go to iTunes, Stitcher, or TalkShoe. That's talk like what I'm doing with my lips, and shoe, what you wear on your feet. Go to any one of those places, or all three of those places. Type in After Movie Diner, will come up. Trust me on that. And when you find us, give us a star rating and a review. I don't care what the star rating is, and I don't care what the review is, but if you want to get the After Movie Diner something for Christmas, that is where to start. It's free, it's quick, you don't have to write any more than you write on a tweet anyway. You're probably texting all day to your mad hunchback sex slave that you keep in the basement for him to make more pancakes for you or whatever. So look, instead of doing that, forego some dirty text to the maid you keep strapped up in the attic who's forced to wash your shorts with nothing more than a toothbrush. Instead of that, why not go onto iTunes, Stitcher, or TalkShoe? That's talk like what I'm doing with my mouth. Shoe that you wear on your foot. Go to any of those websites, type in After Movie Diner, give us a star rating and a review. It takes you 30 seconds. It's free of charge and it's fantastic. And some people have been doing exactly that recently, and I wanted to say a big thank you and read out what they've been saying. So, from D. Lewis Martin, he writes, excellent cast. This podcast is why I love the internet. I appreciate the fresh and intelligent perspective. Great approach, great format. Thanks for the entertaining content. They call me Patty. Right, great podcast. I love this podcast. If you only listen to one episode, listen to episode 97. I'm a fan of William Sadler, and it was great to hear his insights. Keep up the great work. And Hedbergrulis writes, still in my top 5. I've been listening for a while. One of my top 5 podcasts I listen to. High quality film analysis over a wide array of films. Good stuff. And Dalamander wrote, Simply Ace. At last, reviews we can believe in. These guys get it. Nice one. Simply Ace. Travis83 over on the British iTunes wrote, the most consistently entertaining podcast for action, exploitation and horror film chatter. You will learn to love spoilers after you hear John's many and varied spoiler jingles. And Samo T. Cat writes, I love the menu at the After Movie Diner. There are very few podcasts that keep me coming back for more, but at the After Movie Diner my seat is warm and with a fresh plate of movie goodness ready to feast on, which leaves me content even after the side dish of laughs. So, please, look, it doesn't have to be a long essay. Go to iTunes, Stitcher, and TalkShoe and review and rate us today, please. Thank you. What you're hearing is Powering Down, which is track 4 from Milky Onion's brand new EP, My Loins Oink, which is available over at milkyonions1.bandcamp.com. I actually love this band. They do all sorts of different types of music, and they do it fantastically well with a lot of fun to it. The lyrics are always fun, and it's a really great mix of sort of Bonzo Dog meets 80s pop meets trad rock and roll meets all sorts of stuff. It's just great. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I urge everybody who listens to my show to go over to milkyonions1.bandcamp.com and this Christmas pull a few shekels out of your pocket and give it to Milky Onions for their EP, My Loins Oink. They have it up, and you can pay whatever you want to pay from $1 onwards. So just go on, cough up a few bob, and buy the EP. It's 6 tracks. They're all fantastic. I can vouch for every single one of them. I myself ponied up some cash for it today, so please, why not go ahead and put your money where your mouth is and support some independent, wonderful creativity and talent. Please go ahead and do that. Okay, so another thing that I really have to mention is that the wonderful, splendid, super lovely, and, let's be fair, cuddly Andrew Buckley has yet another novel out. You might remember around this time last year that there was a book called Death, the Devil, and the Goldfish that was released. That was his first debut novel and is available in Barnes & Noble stores and is available on Amazon and is available wherever books are sold. Basically, Kobo, I don't know what that is, but you can get an ebook version of it, you can get a print book version of it, all over the place. Death, the Devil, and the Goldfish. You can also get an audiobook version of it, which I did. If you're interested in an audiobook, if you're interested in listening to 6 hours of me tell you a hilarious story, then what you need to do is get yourself over to Amazon or Audible or iTunes or any of those places and look up Death, the Devil, and the Goldfish and the audiobook version. That is me. Well, Well, he has gone ahead, the incredibly creative bastard, and written a second novel, which is being released today, December 9th, as I record this and as I upload this podcast. Yes, December 9th, available now, Stiltskin, in print form and ebook form. The audiobook will be coming down the road once I've finished it. But you can buy Stiltskin right now at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and I'm sure wherever books are sold. Look it up online. It's Stiltskin by Andrew Buckley. The synopsis is, what would you do if you found an evil dwarf in your bathtub? In Robert Darkley's case, you scream like a girl, and then you get taken on a journey to an entirely different world, living just on the other side of our own reality, a world where fairy tales are real, but not in the way we've come to expect them. The aforementioned dwarf, Rumpelstiltskin, has escaped the tower prison of this side, determined to finish the sinister plot he started so many years ago. Robert Darkley, obvious that he is the son of the Mad Hatter, must partner with a mysterious agency to pursue Rumpelstiltskin across our world and the world of this side, and uncover the treacherous secret that threatens to throw both realities into eternal chaos. So, if you like comedy, if you like fantasy, if you like fairy tales, if you like crazy humor, if you like great writing, if you like creative, independent talent, go search out Andrew Buckley's Stiltskin, available now at all good online bookstores. Buy it!
Hi, I'm Steven Seagal. That's right, Steven Seagal. And for the past 40 years, in between barbecuing oxen and roasting boar for my insatiable appetite, I never miss an episode of Dr. Action and the Kick-Ass Kid commentaries. Ain't that right, Johnny?
Hi, I'm Dr. Action.
Hi, and I'm the Kick-Ass Kid.
When I'm not watching action films, I'm usually polishing my gun while looking at a bat.
And when I'm not watching action films, I'm normally outside with a harpoon killing puppies.
But usually you can find us both watching 80s and 90s action films. You could follow us on Twitter, Dr. Action Kickass.
You can find us on our main page, which is dractionkickass.blogspot.com.
You can also find us on iTunes and TalkShoe.
Yes, every week we do a commentary on an 80s and 90s action classic, and where we can, we also provide the film so that you can watch along with it.
This podcast explodes.
Hey, where's that baby mama at? I gotta tase somebody.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of the After Movie Diner. And here with me tonight to discuss wrestlers in movies, it's going to be the first in a long series, is our newly appointed head of wrestlers in movies, a man who is no stranger to wrestling himself, as every week he wrestles 3 other people as the co-host of a fantastic show, Schlock Treatment. I am, of course, referring to the one, the only, Mr. Doug Frye. Hello, sir.
Hello, John.
Hello.
I was hoping that you would give me the title of Minister of Grappling Thespians.
That's fine. Minister of Grappling Thespians is yours right now. You wanted to take the David DeMoss deal, is what you wanted.
That's what I called it, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know whether people have noticed, but every time we do a comic book movie podcast, it's DeMoss.
Every time, yes. Mm-hmm. Nobody else can get in on that.
No. And every time, well, we did say that if we did Sin City, we would have the Doc on Paul, because he's a big Rodriguez fan.
Got it.
And probably would not forgive me if I didn't have him on the show. But DeMoss would be there as well. And every time we do an action show, predominantly 80s and 90s action, but also Statham stuff, it's Doc, it's my cohort in Dr. Action, the Kick-Ass Kid. Paul Croson, and I don't know if anyone else has a deal like that at the moment with the show.
But you got to be aggressive to get these deals.
Yeah, I think so.
You got to be Michael Douglas in Wall Street.
Oh yeah, you've got to put yourself out there. You've got to come to me. I'm not going to come to you. So
or a Dirk Benedict in Body Slam.
And look, any reference.
Roddy Piper.
He's already paying back in dividends what he brings to the show with his wrestling film knowledge. Now, obviously, the wrestlers in film, that's going to cross over into action and stuff. But we're focusing, initially anyway, on the work of Steve Austin.
Yes, he gave me the idea to do this because I've started listening to his podcast, which is great. The Stone Cold Podcast or Steve Austin Podcast. And he was talking a lot about the movies that he makes.
Yeah.
And I just had a sudden desire to see them. I said, I'll watch them with John.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about them.
Yeah, because you know that I love, like, stupid B-movie action stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Especially the made in Canada, made in Bulgaria, made in Mexico type.
We found a good one this time.
Oh, we found a cracking one this time. So we've got plenty of Austin ones we can watch, but basically it'll be sort of movies post, at the moment, until we're done with them, it'll be sort of movies post-2000. So that we can kind of keep except the Piper Frogtown one, which we want to do.
Hell Comes to Frogtown.
Hell Comes to Frogtown. And I'm sure there's a few others that are like pre-2000, but mainly so we can kind of separate it from the Dr. Action stuff that we've covered. We're going to try and keep it. So it'll be stuff like Roddy Piper. I wanted to have a look at like John Cena's stuff because I've heard like the Marine and 12 Rounds are pretty good.
The Marine is great.
Yeah, so I'd like to check that out.
Not for him, but for Robert Patrick.
Yes.
Who's fantastic in it.
Yeah, so we have to watch that. Obviously, the other 80s stuff we'll watch is things like Hulk Hogan's movies because they would never cross over into the Dr. Action stuff.
No, we got to do No Holds Barred.
Yes. So there'll be some of the earlier ones in there, but for the moment, I think of all the sort of DTV action stars of the moment, and you've got Steve Austin, you've got Gary Daniels is still plugging away at it, you've got Seagal is still plugging away at it. You know, in terms of...
He's plugging away at a lot of buckets of chicken.
Yes, he is. He's plugging away at like whole bison in the morning for breakfast, and also his creepy Asian bride that he has at the moment.
I feel like he's constantly using the term carb loading.
Yes, that's
for all the exercise that he's planning on getting to.
I'm doing some carb loading, Johnny, so in 10 years' time I can really do a big workout. But of all the people... And all the people to certainly emerge in like the last 5 or 10 years in terms of straight-to-video stuff, it's really like Steve Austin I really like, Scott Adkins I really like. Mm. And that, you know, in terms of performance that isn't laughable, I like those guys. Michael Jai White, of course, is another one.
Oh, he's great. After Black Dynamite, I was totally on board.
He's got a new one coming out.
Whatever he does next, I'm into it.
He's got a new one coming out, I think, to coincide with the reboot of RoboCop called like Android Police or something like that.
Android Police.
So, which is fantastic.
Is this an asylum film?
I have no idea. It's recently.
Because if it was an asylum film, they would have called it Robot Cop.
Yes, they would have. They wouldn't have even bothered burying the lead. No. It would have been right there on Front Street.
They would have used the same font.
Same font, same everything. They would have probably just put Michael Jai White in the new uniform and everything.
Yeah, he just would have had it probably would have had like a police uniform, but then like robot hand gloves. And
what's really funny is like
like a set of headphones with antennas sticking off of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, those old you could buy like headphone radio combos, right? That had massive antenna on it.
Maybe it would have looked like Jack Black from Be Kind, Rewind.
Yes.
I will shoot you and I know robot karate.
Or he could have just worn a beer helmet. And they could have like spray painted it black. And they could have gone, that looks futuristic, right? Put a couple of LEDs on it.
A spray painted beer helmet with some dark sunglasses.
Right.
And one of those signs that just flashes like...
Yeah. And Michael Jai White just been like, I used to have a career.
It just says Robot Cop flashing across it.
Right. But no, as I was saying to you before we went into this week's film, which, did you want to say the title of it that we're covering this week?
This week's film is Maximum Conviction. I totally lost my Stone Cold impression there.
You lost your Texas
I think I have to curse or something to get that.
Yeah.
The film's Maximum Conviction, jackass.
Right. Fucker. He says fuck a lot in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
In a great way. He's the best thing in this movie. I'm going to just put it out there.
Completely.
Right? Yeah, completely the best thing in this movie.
Transport will be here soon to get the detainees.
We're done here.
No, you're not. You booked in 2 more high-security assets last night. Signing them out would be your job.
Target in place. Commence extraction.
Whoa. Name on the manifest says Rick. Name tag says Max. You want to explain that?
Arm the charge.
Get out!
Priority is the target in cell block D. Find them. Somebody wants you dead. You listen to me, do what I say. You would kill them before they kill you. Who the hell are those guys?
Shadow guys, ex-special forces. Cross was an operational genius. Manning's a weapons expert.
Having fun yet?
Open all the doors in G block.
You can't do that. That sector houses high-risk detainees. Fresh meat.
I am so gonna enjoy this. No pain, no gain.
This isn't about good guys and bad guys anymore. Time to lock it up. It's my game now.
Hey, you okay? My kind of woman.
But I was, we were saying at the beginning, because I think you picked out...
Anytime he's giving somebody shit, it's a great scene.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. He can really, curse and knock people down a peg or two better than anyone else. Certainly better than Steven Seagal. Although Steven Seagal gets one amazing line, which is where he turns around. I'm going to just say this up front. He says, why don't you go fuck your mother with a poodle? Which I thought was incredible. I don't even know where you come up with that. Because these inmates are screaming at him, hey... chuck us a woman, just one of them, so we can have some fun. He's like, why don't you go fuck yourself with your pet poodle? Which was a great line. But apart from that, it's all Steve Austin's show. But no, we were talking, I think you picked up a movie with Eric Roberts in it that I'd had on my shelf or something. Were you looking at a movie with Eric Roberts in it?
Oh, what was that one?
I don't know. But we were talking about how Eric Roberts has 60 movies out this year.
Right.
And then we were talking that Dolph Lundgren, very prolific as well. He's doing a lot of these DTV stuff. And in fact, one of the films that we're going to watch on this series of shows will be The Package, which is Dolph Lundgren, Steve Austin, and Darren Shalavi.
Oh, you didn't tell me Dolph Lundgren was in it.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren's the bad guy in it. He's
Excellent.
amazing in it. He's fantastic.
They flip-flopped from The Expendables.
Yeah. They've done the whole reversal. It's really good. Because they all came off the back of The Expendables. They all had Eric Roberts, Steve Austin, Gary Daniels, and for a period of time during the film, Dolph Lundgren is in there.
And all the Cuban guy from Dexter who plays M. Bison.
Right. Yes. All of them have gone on to do, and were doing before The Expendables, these DTV action movies, excellent. Which have become, huge business and keeping Netflix afloat, clearly. Because you
have to have mass available.
Yeah.
More than quantity.
Definitely. And I think somewhere...
quantity more than quality is what I intended to
there's
say.
either somewhere some European businessmen or some Arab businessmen who have $1 million somewhere, and they're just I want to see Steven Seagal hit somebody, buy this movie, and we do this thing. That's clearly what it is. They all grew up in the 80s. They probably inherited all their money from their oil drilling fathers. I'm assuming.
That sounds right. Or they're just banking assholes.
Right, or financial swindling.
Hauling it in and don't have anything else to do with it.
Right, yeah. Well, because a lot of movie stuff is tax deductible, right?
I don't know if this is true anymore, but in Germany, there was a huge loophole in the tax law.
Yeah.
Which is what funded Uwe Boll's entire career. Yeah,
right.
Everything he did was because it could fail.
Yes, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think it was like a producer's situation. As long as he didn't make any money, no one went to jail.
Well, the other thing is, of course, with this one, the stars producing it themselves.
Right, we saw Austin and Seagal both.
Yeah. Well, Austin had an executive producer credit, which probably meant that at some point they went, can you give us $20,000 and we'll give you a back-end cut
right.
of the movie.
He paid to rent the garage that doubled as a prison.
Yeah, that's what... the 3 sets they had. The jail cell set, the corridor set,
what?
And the kitchen set.
You're going to rent a whole fucking prison? Shit, I know a goddamn garage we can use for free.
I'm a tactical force there. Which was another movie that he did. But no, so what other Austin stuff have you seen? Let's start with it.
So far, I think I've only seen this in The Condemned, which is the one where he's on an island prison where everyone has a wristband that'll blow their arm off.
Of course,
or something.
It's like wedlocked. But yeah.
So but that's how everyone in a movie dies.
Right.
Which is really boring after the third one.
Once you've seen one guy explode.
Yeah, it's that just happened again. Imagine if you were watching a movie where everyone got shot in the head.
Right.
Over and over and over. And that was the only way anyone ever got killed.
Yeah.
No one ever was killed with I don't know, a rocketing gas can that smashed them through a wall.
It's like that bit where at a certain point, and Gary Daniels is also can also be accused of this, but Jean-Claude Van Damme, there was a certain point where it went from either interesting stunts and interesting martial arts when he was working specifically with like the Hong Kong groups and stuff that he worked in back in the 90s, to these DTV movies he did where every time he kills someone, it's with a roundhouse kick. Like, that's all you're seeing Van Damme do. It's just an endless stream of... and Chuck Norris is another one. I mean, I don't like Chuck Norris movies anyway. He's one of the few action people I just can't get to grips with because they tend to be long and tedious.
Dull.
Right, but all his death moves are incredibly dull. Yeah. And there's also ones where... we watched Drive recently on the Dr. Action show with the Mark Dacascos movie from the 90s.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's fantastic.
I like Mark Dacascos, though.
I like him too. If you ever get a chance to see it, it's incredible. Like, his martial arts and generally the martial arts in the movie is fantastic. And it's all based on the Hong Kong style. It's kind of pre-Matrix, but the Matrix stole like a ton from the film. You'll see when you watch it. It's really, really good anyway. And then you watch like another one he did, like another direct-to-video one, and it's all just him with a gun. And you think to yourself,
I hate that.
I know you can do awesome, balletic martial arts,
and he never got fat.
Gun. Yeah.
So why doesn't he do that?
Right.
I remember the first. I was like, I loved Steven Seagal when I was a kid. And I rented that one where he was...
Well, he's like a big teddy bear when you're a child. So
yeah. A teddy bear that...
It's like a big, balding, ponytailed teddy bear.
I liked that he was creative. Like in... Out to Kill? Is that... Which one is the one
where... It's Out for Justice or...
Where he fights the crack-smoking cop.
The crack-smoking cop.
Yeah,
That's every single Steven Seagal movie.
No, the main villain is...
Are you talking about Above the Law?
Above the Law.
Yeah,
I think that's the one.
Or Nico, as it was called in certain countries.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that was his name, right?
Yeah, that's the first one he ever made. You're talking about the one with Pam Grier in it. She plays his sidekick.
No, this is... He's going around the city trying to find this rogue cop.
It might be Out for Justice, then.
I think it's Out for Justice.
Yeah. We're talking about, who did Babalupo? You gotta find out who did Babalupo. And he comes in, I'm going to keep going back in here until you tell me who killed Richie. It's all about him.
Yeah. And that's definitely
You're talking about Out for Justice, the one where he wears the beret and the sleeveless top. And he's got like these fucking orangutan arms. There's no muscle there. They're just like these flabby things. So carry on,
But the scene in the bar...
Oh, yeah.
He breaks the pool cue in half and uses that for two-stick fighting.
Oh, if you'd said that scene, then I would have known it was Out for Justice. Yeah.
And when he gets the cue ball in the handkerchief, it just breaks everyone's face open with it.
Yeah.
Those are great. But then there was that movie where he was the environmental guy.
Oh, there's two, On Deadly Ground and Fire Down Below. And what I love about Fire Down Below, in Fire Down Below, he goes on about, like, he's this environmental guy. But in Fire Down Below, they burn and blow up, just in the making of the movie, tons of buildings. I'm like, that's not good for the environment.
No.
All that pollution of rubber and wood and shit going up in the air.
I want to say that was the one. I rented that.
That has Lee Von Helm in it. As a
does it?
Yeah.
And I watched it, and at the end of it, I thought, shit, he never touched anybody in this.
No.
He just shot people the whole time.
Yeah.
I could have watched anyone do that.
Yeah, it's not as... he does... if it's Fire Down Below, he does a little bit of fighting... when they go to pick up the lumber, and there's like two guys who try and hassle him in town or something, and he does some flappy hand stuff. But you're right, not very much.
I think that's the one. But yeah, it was barely anything.
Yeah,
and he just walked through shooting the villains at the end. No,
Steven Seagal, who's also in Maximum Conviction, his best work is probably like Marked for Death, Out for Justice, Under Siege, Above the Law, or Nico.
It's always got to be out somewhere, above somewhere, under somewhere.
Marked for something. And it's got to be 3 titles.
Marked for Justice, Under Death.
You could literally... There is one he said...
There's one called Out for a Kill.
There is, Out for a Kill, which is... That's got to come from the random Seagal title generator, right? They just like plug in some words and some computer program does it, and they're like, how about Maximum Killing Death Marked for, or whatever.
Hard to Kill. No, we did
Hard to Kill is incredible.
Out for Justice. No, we did that too. Out for a Kill? Whatever.
Yeah, that'll do.
Fine.
That sounds fine.
No one cares.
What's the plot of the movie? It's got nothing to do with killing. But And in fact, this one has, although it's only 2 words, it has an attempt at a clever title, but it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, maximum conviction, like convicting the felons?
No, as in they're all convicts, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't.
But they're
work,
maximum.
Maximum security convict.
You put maximum before anything, and it makes it more exciting. It's one of those
because it's the best.
It is,
or the most. Anyway, I don't know.
Maximum death. They should just do that. That should just be a movie.
Maximum justice.
Yeah, maximum justice. I mean, Seagal's got another 10 years of movies in him just from the titles alone.
Maximum
just put
siege.
maximum in front of the old titles he's already done.
As long as he says the title somewhere in there.
Sure, yeah. You're in here for some maximum conviction. He never said...
We're under siege, goddammit. We're under maximum siege.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then, of course, he did Under Siege 2, and it all went to hell. But no, there's some... I still say that...
Yeah, I mean, those are
Van Damme and Seagal had about...
extensions of Die Hard, really, right?
Right.
Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on train.
But Van Damme and Seagal, specifically back when they had their kind of studio contracts, had about 10 years in them, 7 to 10 years, where they did about 7 to 9 movies, something like that, at the beginning of their career, where most of them are okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Most of them are watchable, most of them are fun, most of them whatever.
You're looking at like an 88 to 93 situation.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, the first 5 years are very strong, but then even sort of 88 to 98, most of them are putting out stuff that's fairly decent.
All right.
And then,
Well, I got all Gen X at that time and lost
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the weird things about Lundgren, though, of course, is that he did the first one, I Come in Peace, which was sort of it was like a weird sort of sci-fi, but straightforward actioner type movie.
Really launched the career of Brian Ben.
Yeah. I love him because he has 3 first names
Brian
in his name.
Ben.
It's fantastic. Yeah, you don't get like, I don't know, Alan Jeff or whatever. You should, but you don't.
Oh, yeah, Alan from the Alan and Jeff show of Maximum Conviction.
Of Maximum Conviction. But then he had He-Man and a couple of others, but he never really had that run quite as strong. I mean, Red Scorpion, I suppose.
That was pretty straight to video, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just trying to think of like the other big ones he had.
His biggest role was Drago.
Yeah, in Rocky, yeah.
So Punisher, which I don't think that made any money.
No, I don't think that was a big hit.
Did that even go to the theaters? I'm not sure.
We just recently did a musical commentary for it, though, over at Dr. Action. We decided one day, I don't know why, I came home from work pretty, dizzy with tiredness and silliness, like that kind of punch-drunk feeling.
Yeah.
And I said, Doc, we're going to do the commentary, but this week it's going to be musical. So I brought my keyboard round here and had it set up by the desk. I had my guitar stand here and I had my ukulele stand here. And as we watched the movie making jokes about it, when I came up with an idea, I just pulled an instrument down improv like three bars of a song. So that was fun. So that's available over at the Dr. Ash and the Kick-Ass Kids show. So you've only seen, coming back to Steve Austin, you've only seen The Island. What was it called again?
The Condemned.
The Condemned. Okay, because I've seen Hunt to Kill, which is him in the backwoods of probably Canada or the Northwest, but probably filmed in Canada.
Hunting the Yeti.
Or maybe even in somewhere in Eastern Europe. Quite possibly it could have been filmed in Eastern Europe.
Not Yeti, Wendigo. That's in Canada.
But Wendigo just sounds like... Wendigo sounds like the drive-through window at a Wendy's, doesn't it?
Wendigo? Yeah, totally. Except in the X-Men video game when it just goes, Wendigo! That's all it says is its own name over and over.
Nice. Well, as long as it knows who it is, man.
Yeah.
How many of us can say that we know who we truly are?
If I really did, I'd probably just go around saying Doug all the time.
Doug!
That'd be the only thing I ever said to anybody.
People who refer to themselves in the third person are always fascinating individuals. But
well, Doug believes that...
Doug would like to point out that John is wrong. And John would like to say, fuck you. Fuck your mother with a poodle. That's what John wants to say. So I've seen Hunt to Kill, or whatever it's called.
Out for
a maximum kill. While I'm convicting whatever. And with Steve Austin and Gary Daniels. It's a pretty good one. And Is Eric Roberts in the beginning of that? I think Eric Roberts does like a 2-minute cameo.
Yeah, he's basically Gary Daniels, Eric Roberts, and Steve Austin are just married for 4 movies now.
Which is fine. I have no problem with that. And then I've seen The Package, which is Lundgren, Austin, and Darren Shahlavi, who we interviewed over.
That sounds like it must be some kind of Transporter ripoff.
It's yes and no. I mean, it's not a Transporter ripoff in the plot line, but yes, I guess the idea spans from something like that. Here's a courier.
Okay.
And Darren Shahlavi, who we interviewed on the Dr. Action show, and I believe that interview is also available under Booth Talk, which is the interview-only section of the After Movie Diner website, if you want to check that out.
Maximum Conviction also has a courier.
Yes, it does indeed. And then I've seen Tactical Force, which is Michael J. White, Darren Shahlavi, and Steve Austin. And that was filmed in a warehouse in Romania. Like that was just we found a warehouse or an aircraft hangar or something. We just found this building that's empty for 2 weeks.
So there are a lot of go in there and extras who don't talk and dubbed over voices.
Yeah, definitely. It's got all that goodness. There's one bit where they go out into the car park and drive a van around, and that's like the extent of the exterior shooting that they do. And they probably had to do that like on a Sunday when there weren't people there working on the hangar or whatever. So, but that's like I like Tactical Force. I like The Package, and I like this one. Did you want to run down the plot for us quickly?
Jesus, is that even possible?
It was one of those where if you ignored all the dialogue, which we did, you still enjoyed the movie.
All right, so it's the last day of a maximum security prison. And
a black ops site, like nobody even knows this exists.
Yeah.
Not even the police, as Seagal says later in the movie.
He does pronounce it that way.
Yeah, not even the police knows we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some kind of like jive slang he's trying to do.
It's working on Lawman, man, I'm telling you. He spent a lot of time in Louisiana doing his thing. And that's how he talks now. Everyone's a man or a boy or you're my number one guy. You're my number one boy. And that's a boy, he says.
Boy.
Yeah.
That's what I say. So Austin and Seagal, I don't remember their characters' names at all.
No. Shall I look them up?
No.
They
don't play characters anyway.
Baldy and Fat Man, right?
Fat Man and Austin.
Not that I would call either of them that to their face, but
of course.
Yes, Mr. Austin, whatever you want, Mr. Austin.
There's some kind of security firm guys that are in charge of shutting this down.
Yeah, they're kind of Blackwater-like soldiers who have been put on this detail, private soldiers for hire type thing, who are ex-military, or at least Seagal is, who have been put on this detail kind of like his easy kind of job.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
But things go bad because...
the garbage breaks down.
Yeah, well, there's a long period where Steve Austin is doing maintenance as part of his character. But no, I guess what happens is...
he takes over for the maintenance man, which is one of his better lines.
Yeah.
The maintenance guy says something snapped. And there's a garbage truck that comes in and hooks up to the system, the garbage system.
Yeah.
And something breaks down in it. And the driver says it snapped, to which Austin responds, "Something snapped? That's your professional opinion?"
Austin's really good in this movie. I really like it. He goes, I'm going to fucking do it myself.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
And for the rest of the movie, he carries around a giant wrench in his back, like in his belt.
Never does. Oh, no, he does do something with it. He uses it with the gas canister. That must have been what he did to...
that's what made the spark.
Knock the top of the gas canister off that immediately exploded, even though there was nothing explosive around it.
Well, it didn't immediately explode. It fired like a rocket.
But flames came out of it.
Yes, it did catch fire.
That doesn't happen.
Burst.
Yeah, right. Which was great. But no, so
best kill of the movie.
Oh yeah, of course. It was a fantastic kill. But so they're there, and Seagal took, even though they're closing it down today, and the FBI or CIA, whoever, are meant to be coming to pick up the prisoners, of which there were only like 6 or 7 or something, for transfer to another black ops site.
And they're crazy, these few prisoners.
Oh yeah, they are. They're really crazy. They look like between them they couldn't, build a Lego house, let alone rob banks or cause terrorist action or whatever.
Who knows what they were in there for?
Yeah, no. But one looked like he was in there for just eating too many cakes. That's really
maybe ate too many people.
Yes. Or too many cake people. Or people made out of cakes. Or people covered in cakes.
Most people are mostly made out of cake these days.
Because what else we got to do, man? The financial collapse. There's no jobs. There's no fucking... just sit around and eat cake. And then, so there's a few guys that are going to be transferred to other prisons. They're waiting for the transfer people to show up.
Which were U.S. Marshals, but they were fake outfits, so I don't know if that's...
Well, they were fake marshals,
yeah.
So it might have been why they were wearing... I don't know. But it looked like they'd gone along to Walmart and gone, my Halloween U.S. Marshal outfit that they'd picked off my little U.S. Marshal or whatever that is. I don't know.
They had neon-colored guns.
Yeah, right.
It's illegal for them to be realistic.
It always makes me laugh. There's that great comment in, I think it's Out for Sight, where Michael Keaton is wearing like the jacket with FBI written on it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And is it Dennis Farina who turns around and says, "Oh, do you have one that says undercover too?" But it always makes me laugh how in movies, if you're FBI or CIA or special ops or whatever, your jacket will say it loud and clear.
It comes with the sunglasses.
Yeah, right, exactly. U.S. Marshal is just in big yellow letters right across his thing. But no, so they're coming to pick up the convicts. And of course, there are two that Seagal has admitted the night before into D Block.
Which had been decommissioned.
Yeah. One of whom is a woman who claims to have sensitive information, and the other one is a woman who we don't know why she gets
never
picked
hear
up.
anything about her for an hour and 10 minutes.
Right, until she turns into like this ass-kicking, name-taking crazy, right?
Yeah, who's former CIA, or possibly still CIA, but a traitor.
No idea.
Not a lot of explanation.
I think when Seagal gets stuck on a movie, he just goes, "Make him CIA." I think that's probably just what he does. Because he was CIA,
Of course,
yeah. Of course.
Before he was a sheriff's deputy.
No, he was CIA before he was... Yeah, I think he claims he was like special security detail for the Dalai Lama or something.
I'm sure he believes he was.
Well, he believes he's like third... Isn't he third in line to be like a lama or something? Like, doesn't he believe he's some Eastern god or prophet or something? I was told by one of the shaman of the temple, I'm a spiritual man. I believe in peace. I believe in the Buddhist way. That's why I love...
Oh, that explains the...
Yeah, that explains all the guns and the fighting and the whatever.
Oh, I just thought it explained the gut.
No, yeah, it explains why he's... But he hasn't allowed... Well, he has gone bald, but he's covered it up with a weave. Surely he would look more like Buddha if he took the weave off, took the carpet off his head.
Yeah, he's definitely going that old 80s pro wrestler route of covering your bald head with the bandana.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hulk Hogan, Jesse Ventura,
except that
Randy Savage, they all did that.
Except that Seagal covered his wig with the bandana as well. Unless he takes the wig off when no one's looking and just puts the bandana on.
What if the bandana and the wig are
the same? Like he pulls a rope and a chute comes out and there's really the bandana.
It's like the Jamaican hat with the fake dreadlocks. Right. He's got a bandana with a ponytail.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. Because if you look at his early movies, he's thinning, like up front. Like he's got big fluffy bum fluff, thinning male pattern baldness thing going on.
Yeah.
With the ponytail. Like that's what he's known for. Like the slick back hair with the ponytail.
The little short ponytail.
Pubes up front. And now the pubes up front have been replaced with Count or Eddie Munster or whatever you want to, like a fucking widow's peak of thatched mad black carpet.
Do you think it's sprayed on?
No, I think one of my friends, my old job, Kiva, she said it looks like where black women go and get their weaves, like their hair weaves and stuff. It looks like he's gone and got one of those.
But a weave has to be woven into something. If you're just bald...
Maybe he clips it to the back. Maybe he's still got hair around the back and he clips it so if a high wind came up, it would just kind of flap up at the front. I don't know. Maybe he super glues it. Maybe like...
I was going to say, do you think it's plugs?
No, it's definitely not plugs. You can see the line. I mean, you can see there's a definite big line around the front. I just don't know how...
Maybe he just glues hair down.
He goes on about like being a man's man and a real person and a real martial artist. Why does he give that much of a shit about his hair then?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Shave your head.
Yeah, right. Well, probably because he would look like Jabba the Hutt at this point. Jabba the Hutt in massive amounts of fake tan and eyeliner. So they're kicking about. And then, of course, with the garbage truck comes into the prison with the humorous title on the back of, like, Trojan Garbage.
I think it's a Troy.
Oh, Troy Garbage?
Waste Disposal or something
okay,
like that. But the logo is a horse.
Right. So we had a joke that we were like, Seagal said, I want to put that in for the readers, Johnny.
Got to bring in the smart crowd, I think you said.
Yeah. I gotta get some intelligentsia watching this movie, Johnny. I think they're going to appreciate the subtlety of all the stuff I've put in this movie. And then they're basically trying to get hold of the women. And Seagal and his team of, like, special forces who just hang out in the local pub smoking cigars until he calls upon them with their special skills. They show up to help him out. Only they're not very good because Steve Austin, like, gives one of them a talking down.
One of the regular prison guards finds a scrap of paper with some code on it, I guess.
It's just some numbers. I mean, it could easily have been like the points to the local prison Scrabble game. Like, no one would have been any the wiser.
And Seagal, he gives it to Skull. Seagal gives it to one of his crack team.
Right.
Who's...
Seagal spends time even though they're about to be attacked, Seagal spends time in a bar smoking a large cigar
and drinking
surrounded
whiskey,
by prostitutes and drinking whiskey, yeah.
But his crack guy... he tells him, he's like, I think this is Arabic or something like that. I
think he says it's like an Air Force decryption code or something like that, he says.
And then the guy he gives it to goes, Air Force decryption, that's my specialty.
Yeah. No, what's even funnier is Seagal goes, I think it's this thing, and rattles off this long thing, and the guy picks it up and goes, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, Seagal didn't even get it vaguely right or partially right. It's exactly correct.
So naturally, yeah.
Seagal knew exactly what it was.
Best around.
And then there was that great bit at the end of that scene where Seagal goes... They're all sat round a small table. I mean, they're no further away than I am from you right now. And Seagal says to him, I think you should go back to the airport and get all the tactical unit, and then come back to the prison. To which the other guy he just told that to right in front of the team turns around to the team and goes, we need to go to the airport and get the tactical. Because they couldn't hear Seagal's mumbling over the loud blues music and the women dancing in the bar.
It's chain of command.
Of course. Yeah. It's pointless dialogue that didn't need to be in this movie. I don't need what Seagal said.
What he should have said was, right, let's go.
Yeah, right. Unless they watched the dailies and was like, no one understands what Seagal says, please turn round and repeat what he said.
There had to be some of that going on.
You had the classic thing where two of the guards, it was their last day, so they were like playing hacky sack basketball in their office. Nerf basketball, right. Yeah. Which was great. You knew they were dead from the moment that they came on screen. But apart from that, like, and then it just becomes like a prison siege movie with a lot of fighting and various things. And a lot of unnecessary... At the beginning when the terrorists burst out of or the kidnapped people, but burst out of the garbage truck, one of them has an iPad with the schematics of the prison on it.
He's downloaded all the latest terrorism apps.
Yes. He probably got a free iPad when he bought a consignment of weapons or something. It's like,
he bought it from Ikeda.
Yeah, right. Nice. I like that. He probably bought, like, with every 5 rifles you buy, you get a free iPad. Which is, it's never explained how they're getting wireless in this prison. It's probably not a 3G iPad. It's probably like the first generation. It probably doesn't even have a camera on it.
Not sure how old it is, but yeah.
It's probably a cheap.
I meant the movie, but yeah, it looks
probably like a Romanian iPad. It's probably not even a real iPad. It's probably
looks like a piece of shit. It doesn't look like a real tablet, honestly.
But on it is this, schematics of the prison, like this horrible map thing, which is really poor. Like, it's really badly... it should have remained only on the iPad. But at a certain point during the movie, we realized, because basically the movie devolves into 3 or 4 different groups of people in different parts of the prison trying to find each other, and occasionally having skirmishes. That's sort of 2/3 of the movie. And to bridge the gap between the scenes of Steve Austin's group and the hair model group, the guy from Just for Men, him.
Michael Pare,
who was in the movie, and then Steve Seagal's group, and then the 2 women who go rogue at a certain point. There's about 4 different groups.
there's an Asian woman who has some sort of microchip sewn into her heart.
Under her boob, yes. Yeah. And Seagal, it was so funny, she lifts up her shirt and Seagal goes, yeah, I've seen them before.
Of course he has.
I've seen titties
it's
before.
It's a really disgusting applique. It's supposed to look like a scar, but it just looks like a big wart.
Yeah, it looked really grotesque, and there was a nice close-up of it. It looked like... in England, there's a colourful marshmallow confection called a flump or a fluff or something like that.
A flump? Who would eat anything called a flump?
I don't know, but they're like yellow and pink and all swirls, and it looked like one of them had been stuck under her tit and then glued on. It was really...
Is that like a marshmallow peep that we have here?
Yeah, but except that it's like yellow and pink and swirled, but it's not. Yeah, it's kind of
shaped like a duck.
You buy like bags of them, like you would buy regular marshmallows. It's just they're shaped and coloured for kids, I guess, or whatever. But so
she's covered in flump.
She's covered in that. It looks like she's had that applied to her boob. But it was just funny that she lifted up her shirt and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that before."
Yeah,
because he's seen everything.
Expert in everything.
Yeah. He's not only is he an expert in everything, but I like to think that he's referring to her tits. It's like, I ran a sex ring, allegedly. So,
alleged.
I have to say that in case he's listening.
Of course. You don't want to get sued for libel.
Right.
Yeah,
but,
so and we find out in that scene that, they are just openly talking about how this woman was undercover.
Yeah.
In front of this second prisoner, who is a Latina woman, whose name we still don't know.
No.
Who shockingly turns out to be a traitor.
Right.
And a plant from the group that's trying to get the information off of that microchip.
Except that Seagal had already given her a strong talking to. So he assumed that that talking to was going to be enough for not to betray.
You don't follow what I say, I'll kill you.
Yeah. He said, I'll kill you like the rest of them.
Yeah.
I want distinguished just because you're a woman. Was the subtext. That he didn't say that. That was the subtext.
So luckily, he did explain that as soon as her heart stopped beating, the microchip would be erased and all the information would be gone.
So they can't kill her.
Yeah. So during some fight...
Which was totally an irrelevant plot point. Because they still managed to download it off an iPhone app that they had for downloading super secret sewn into your heart fucking equipment.
Yeah, it's like the phones where you can touch them together and they exchange information.
The Galaxy or whatever they are. Yeah,
well apparently he could do that with his phone.
You rub it under the tit and that's the sweet spot. Right there. That's where all the fucking wireless signal is coming from.
And he just downloaded everying?
He downloaded it in super quick time as well. Yeah. That must have been...
It had a little download bar?
It did.
And they didn't show it again. I have no idea how long it took.
No, I think they did show it briefly again just as it went to 100%. But it was a totally hokey, we've seen this in movies so it has to be an our movie thing. It wasn't... if you can wait... If you're going to make the leap... that you can vaguely wave an iPhone at someone's rib cage, essentially, and still pick up highly sensitive, sewn into her chest cavity stuff.
Attached to her heart.
You don't need a download bar. You've already made the leap. You've already jumped the shark. You don't need to explain how he jumped the shark.
You're past showing the details of that.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. As far as we're going, if it's just a case of also, if he can wirelessly connect to it with his iPhone, why didn't he just stand in the middle of the prison and do that?
Yeah, or just
because proximity has nothing to do with it.
Get next to her,
right,
and then leave.
Right,
it doesn't matter.
Right. In fact, if they've sent someone in. If they had we've just figured out. If they had that woman undercover the whole time, she could hide an iPhone or a device in an orifice, let's say, so that they wouldn't be found out. And then when she's in prison with the woman, overnight, while she's asleep, she just does the downloads it, sends it off via the internet, and away it goes.
And that's it.
Yeah. No death, no destruction, no blowing people up, no threatening the cook. None of that has to happen.
Yeah. There were so many people just pointlessly slaughtered by them.
What was great was that at the beginning they established there was only 6 criminals, and when they came out of the garbage van, there seemed to only be about 7 or 8 guys with... I mean, how many people could you fit in the back of a garbage van?
I'd go 8. I think there were 8.
Right. 2 of which Steve Austin kills before they even leave the garage.
With I don't know what. He just stabbed them both in the throat with an ink pen? I don't know what it was, but he was...
Maybe
it was a screwdriver. He mentioned something about that because he snuck up on the one guy.
Oh, that's probably what it is. Yeah.
But it's just like...
Yeah, you didn't get to see it, but it was cool that they did it. And so there was only 12 people, then the 2 guys being the U.S. Marshals, a couple of guards, and yet they seemed to kill hundreds of people throughout the movie.
It just kept going and going.
There seemed to be a ninja force suddenly showed up.
I don't know where those guys came from. All of a sudden, there were just 3 guys in all black with face masks.
Ninja masks and the whole bit, yeah. They were great, though.
They almost shot their bosses at one point.
But no, so the movie...
And we're still trying to just get the plot down.
Yes. Well, the plot...
This plot, it made no sense at all.
No, it made absolutely no sense. But what was nice about it was that all the exposition took place in between or during firefights. Normally, there was a great bit where Seagal had to say a line and jump out of the way of a bullet while they were already firing. Because it had been edited so that you saw the guys with the guns going bang, 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 bang. Seagal is in the line of the bullets, says a line, then jumps out of the way. As if the line was that important, he really needed to say it before he got gunned down. He would be dead.
He would be dead. Be careful, don't get shot.
Yeah, right. One of the other best bits was when he is ambushed by the bad guys, and he's like, it's not how many people you got, it's the skills. You gotta have the skills, like that, right?
Yeah.
But actually, his skill was having a crack team of people who came
who were hiding behind him.
Right, who were hiding behind him.
And then just immediately gunned almost everybody down.
They gunned everyone down. But what was so funny is he hid behind the truck, and while they were all firing, multiple bullets everywhere, said very quietly, hey guys, cover me, before running out.
Yeah.
They were already covering
They were already covering him, and they couldn't have heard him in a quiet room.
Yeah,
they were all firing rapid-fire machine guns. They were just blasting away.
But that was what was genius about the movie, is it felt, and you see this with a lot of B-movie action films, they feel the need to continue with the plot. It's almost like porn films when... It's fine having that first 5 minutes establishing, but after the first sex scene, when they try and then go back to the plot, you're like, no, wait a minute, you've already, you know what I mean? You've already ejaculated all over someone's face. There's no going back to whatever kind of fucking setup you're trying to fit into this movie.
We've got to stop the alien invasion after we fuck.
Right, exactly. And Maximum Conviction is like a violent porn. In other words, once you've blown a bunch of people up with guns, you don't need to then go back to whatever's happening. We assume there are bad guys and good guys in the prison, and at a certain point, the good guys are going to blow the bad guys up.
And at a certain point in the porn, once you've blown everyone, there's no need to go back to the plot.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. But they kept trying desperately. Bless them. Bless them.
Yeah.
They really were invested in this idea to go back to the plot. But that all being said, and joking aside, action-wise, in terms of straight to Netflix action movies, it's one of the better ones. It really is.
Some really
one
fun
of the
scenes.
Much better ones, yeah. What were some of your favourite ones?
Steve Austin fighting the guy in the prison yard with the...
that was great.
Where he's just casually dodging the weight bar that he's... And just quick punch in the face.
Quick punch in the face. Dodge the weight bar, punch in the face.
Unforgivable move here. He ripped off the rock bottom.
Yeah.
You don't steal another wrestler's finish.
No, indeed.
Smash a guy into the weight bench or whatever.
Oh, yeah. He smashed him right through the bench, didn't he? That was great. And Seagal smashed another guy through the bench, Michael Parry.
Yes, in the end, yeah. That wasn't a good fight.
No, well, Michael Parry had no moves.
Well, he didn't get to... I think he might have punched him once towards the middle of the fight.
Yeah, Seagal doesn't like to get
slapped
touched.
Around and
Seagal doesn't like to get touched.
But I like Seagal's fight with the really huge prisoner.
Yeah, the big guy.
Real strangler.
Oh, yeah, he was... Again, no explanation as to why he was outside and what he was doing, but no one else but Seagal could deal with this guy.
Yeah, they called him in, and he boxed his ears.
Yeah. What he does, slappy hand to the face. That's the Seagal move nowadays, because he can't really move his arms particularly, away from his body. He's still very quick. He's
really
still
fast.
very, very fast.
Very fast.
He always was.
Yeah.
But before...
I always liked watching this stuff, because I liked the pressure holds.
Yeah.
Or he'd get a guy's wrist and snap it, or flip someone
He did that
around.
in this one with the fingers. He likes to do that.
He did a lot of that one,
The bending the fingers back one, which I like.
Yeah, he did some wrist stuff.
Of the later Seagal movies I've seen, this is some of his best fighting.
Oh, and...
The kick kick that he did at the end was awesome as well. Like,
Yeah,
he like
just kicked the guy through a wall.
Yeah, right. A couple of times. It was great.
And he fought the two guys who asked for the woman, the ones he told to go fuck their mother with a pet poodle. He had one of those guys, and he got him in like an arm lock, and he just broke his arm.
Oh yeah, and then he was.
He said, "Does that hurt? Fucking pussy."
That was the other good Seagal bit. And what was great about it is Seagal is like known for breaking arms. In fact, I think there's even a YouTube video with like all the arm breaks. But obviously back in the day, it would just be some guy with like an empty sweater sleeve, and he would just bend the sweater sleeve, and that would be it. And they'd overdub like a crack. And they were normally the ones that were like edited out in England because they don't like breaking bones and stuff like that. Or they didn't back in the 80s.
You get you banned, right?
Yeah, the BBFC. But which is like our MPAA. But then this one, they were like, well, if we're going to do a cigar break, we have to... And they'd already like sawn off a finger, and they'd already had like quite a lot of gore in the movie.
Yeah, we got to go back to the warden later.
We'll go back to the poor warden, who really is just... Jesus. Anyway... so in this one, you see him like break the arm. You see like the bone jut out.
It's a compound fracture.
Yeah, the whole bit.
Bone rips through the shirt. It's
blood
all bloody.
squirts up. It's great. It's a proper thing. And then
while he's blood in this movie, but
they did really have bad blood. But that terrible bit, like he's holding it there and the bone jutting up and whatever, and he's just like, "Does that hurt? How'd you like that?"
And that guy, I don't think he killed him. I think he just left him there,
probably
in agony with his broken arm.
But I appreciated that. I appreciated that, like when people got shot in the head, like their brain matter went everywhere, and the guy lost his finger. I mean, talk about the warden then.
Well, I wanted to go real quick back to the fight with the big guy. There's a scene. He's got him by the wrist or something, and he runs his face into a plexiglass window.
Oh yeah.
And when he pulls it back, there's blood all over the window, but it looks like raspberry jelly out of a donut.
Yeah.
It's so thick and so weird looking.
It probably was ice cream topping. You know, like raspberry ice cream topping that he just held in his mouth, and as he got thrown against the window, he did spit it. There wasn't like...
Yeah,
it didn't burst. It was, he spat it. Like as it went, he just made a spit face and he pulled it away.
To have that much blood come out of your mouth, you would have to have just vomited blood.
Yeah. But I think, like we said, he'd been snaffling Seagal's donuts, and that's why Seagal was upset at him.
That's what he was really
I teach you to get my jelly-filled one. I love the jelly-filled one. They're my favorite ones. You can have the pink topping one. I don't like that one.
Who got in my Hostess fruit pie? You guys know cherry's my favorite.
Cherry's my favorite one. I got it out of the vending machine before we had it decommissioned.
He decommissions vending machines. That's what he does. He goes around to different prisons. He goes, "Have you got the one in here with all the Mars bars in it? I want that one." But
you can have these fucking sunflower seeds. I want that bullshit.
Have you ever noticed that? I don't know if they have that at your work, but where I used to work, they had a vending machine in like the little kitchen area, and slowly over time they started putting healthy things in it. I'm like, who are you fucking kidding? I want fucking cheese, popcorn, and cakes. I don't want.
No one buys them though. I don't think. I think those sunflower seeds sit there until someone finally just.
Of course, nobody buys
of space.
Yeah, they started putting in like what do they call it with all the like nuts and fruit and dried stuff?
Trail mix.
Trail mix. Yeah, something like trail mix in there and stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to fight for 2 M&Ms. I want a bag of M&Ms. You know.
The gym that I go to, it has the most insanely unhealthy food in it.
Oh, that's what it should have.
Every once in a while, they have like mango slices.
Yeah,
for some reason.
That's really weird, like dried peach and shit.
These are fresh. They're
oh my God,
cut up and sealed in a package. I think they're.
That sounds disgusting.
It looks pretty bad. I think
absorbing
they're from
the polystyrene chemicals while they're
they're from a big company. Fruit company.
Yeah,
but in general, it's like Lunchables.
Yeah.
I see those, I'm like, that's the worst.
Ritz crackers.
What? Yeah, Ritz crackers.
Processed ham in a circle.
Bologna slices and little American cheese triangles.
Yeah, right.
Why would you have that? This is a gym.
I used to like going to the swimming pools in England. Always had the best vending machines.
Oh yeah.
And I used to do swimming just so I could get the candy afterwards. I just go, "Mom, can I get chips and some Rolos and some fucking things?" They had the whole thing in there. But no, so we think that's probably what Seagal's job was. And he was just upset that the dude had taken his frosted donuts or whatever. It would have been even better if the guy had like fucking sugar on his face or something. That would have been great.
If they'd said he was like he was on coke or something, would he just had powdered sugar all over his mouth and the nose,
and then spat out raspberry jam filling? That would have been great. But no, what was funny about that is they had to find a guy bigger than Seagal, in order to be imposing.
This guy was a moose.
Yeah,
he was enormous.
He was enormous. Well, I mean, because Seagal's like 6'4".
But they had a regular sized guy who was the guard in there with him for some reason. I don't know why.
I think
he had that guy in a 2-handed choke over his head.
Yeah, up over his head, throwing him against the wall,
which he would do later.
Yes.
But we'll get to that.
With the woman.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think let's do the warden now.
Do the warden, dude. I'll give the floor is yours.
The warden is introduced in a fantastic way. He comes in and starts giving shit to Seagal and Austin. And Austin says something and he tells him to shut up. And Austin says, "Negative that, warden. I don't got to shut up."
There we go. It's back. Your Austin is back now.
He just tells him to fuck off immediately.
Yeah. Well, they have no truck with bureaucracy.
No.
As far as they're concerned, every building they walk into, they're automatically running it, even if they don't have the chain of command.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is later on, even though the guard says about the warden, "Oh, you'll need to see the warden, I can't authorize this," when it goes through to the warden's like, "You'll need to see Seagal, because Seagal has to authorize it." I'm like, Seagal's just coming to decommission this place. He doesn't authorize anything. Right. You know what I mean? He's a private citizen. He's not even a fucking public worker, not even working for the government.
No, he has no authority outside of just
other than being Seagal. Seagal is his own authority. That's we got to establish that from that's the ground rules of all Seagal movies.
I think the warden only knows red tape, though.
He only knows how to wear
everything has to be someone else's responsibility.
A business shirt and how to sit behind a desk.
Yeah, so
and yet surprisingly has less weight on him than Seagal, who apparently goes around doing lots of missions everywhere.
Well, it's really not about the exercise. It's about the diet.
Yeah. It's all those potted lambs that he's having for lunch.
Yeah, I feel like cornbread's really heavy. Cornbread and fritters. I think fritters are a big part of his meals.
Yeah, probably. But it's probably more like woodland creature fritter rather than like a banana fritter or something. It's probably.
I think it's just a lot of GMO corn.
Yeah,
a lot of corn syrup. I think goes in.
He bathes in corn syrup.
Yeah,
and baby seal fat and corn syrup mix. It's a special Seagal. It gives him that youthful glow. Which you'd be able to see if it wasn't for the blackface he was wearing.
Oh, wow. He looks like he's just plastered.
Yes.
He's caked in makeup.
Yes. And I've seen him recently, I was telling you earlier, I've seen him recently in an interview on like some Bulgarian TV channel or something. And he was giving an interview and they had a side shot of him because he was facing the interviewer. And it was all shot side on. And you could see a thick brown line down his neck where the face pack that he's constantly wearing finished and his regular pasty, "I'm really from Detroit" skin shown out. I don't care how much he hangs out with people in Louisiana. He's from Detroit. So his whole southern, "I'm down with the African-American population" shtick that he seems to be on right now is ridiculous.
Yeah, his vocal style.
Well, when he's in Russia, he claims to be Russian. And when he's in down south, he claims to be Cajun. And when he's in, he just makes shit up about whatever. Yeah,
if he was ever
he's like I think he's part Jewish. I think half his family is Jewish. I think he's like a Jew from Detroit, and he
was trying to do like an
Cajun
Italian American thing through the 90s.
Yeah, he was. He was in the whole Babalupo. He's trying to be in Out for Justice and Nico Above the Law. He's trying to do De Niro, like the way he does the accent. So I'm going to come in here and hit you, you fucking mook. Like he's trying to do that all the whole time.
He was a lot less whispery back then, too.
Yeah, and there's a whole bit at the beginning of Marked for Death where he's interrogating a guy, and he's doing that like Italian-American thing of like smacking them around the cheeks and along the back of the neck. He's like, "Come on, you gumba," or whatever it is. And
he's got the short little ponytail.
Yeah. He's trying to be like a proper
good fella.
Brooklyn kind of greaser type, and it's ridiculous.
And now he's a Cajun.
Yeah, now he's a Cajun. And when he's in Russia, he actually said on a Russian chat show the other day, he was like, "I'm part Russian." We're yet to find out what part. He might have eaten a Russian. That might have. He's certainly not Russian about the place, put it that way, otherwise he'd have a lot less weight. But anyway, no, good points about the warden. We just went off on one again.
Yeah, whatever. So the warden is then held hostage by
Michael Paré.
Who
is the guy off the front of Just for Men boxes. He is.
He does look like that. He's very clean cut.
He's the all-American douchebag.
Yeah, he's very Johnny modeling school.
Yeah, oh yeah, completely. He's got like the chin and the grin and the hair and the whole bit. I mean, you could... Any toiletry for men product that has those guys on it that we're all meant to be, but none of us are. Like, have you ever met anyone who looks like those people?
One guy. And
didn't you hate him?
It was a guy I used to work with.
Okay.
And he was a really nice guy.
Oh, okay.
But one time I was in the restroom and he was washing his hands, and I walked up to wash my hands. I looked in the mirror and I'm like, fuck, this guy looks like a real person and I look like a cartoon character.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes, the warden.
So the warden. So they find out that it's a fingerprint key, right, to get in?
Right.
So they just grab him and cut his finger off immediately.
They didn't even give him the option of, like, spilling the beans.
No, nothing. They just like, oh, we just need your finger? All right.
They're like, just tell us or we're going to cut off your finger. And then he just cuts off his finger. But it doesn't even give him a chance to tell him anything.
But then he pleads for his life, says that he knows the system, he can get him around, and he's got a ring of 400 keys that he pulls out of his desk.
And he puts a handkerchief over the stub on the finger, which apparently cures everything. You can have an open wound on your body. I mean, you think of all the blood that pumps through your fingers daily. In fact, last week I was washing up and I broke a plate. No, it was Thanksgiving. I broke a plate. And, like, it's just a tiny little nick. You can see that there.
Oh, yeah.
But that was like...
And that shit bleeds.
Yeah, all the time.
Like shaving cuts.
Yeah.
When is this ever going to stop bleeding?
Exactly.
It's not even a big cut.
So if you lopped off a finger, that thing would be just fucking...
It would be jettisoning blood.
But yeah, so the warden gets his finger cut off, and he's a real, like, officious-looking guy as well. It's almost like he was the staff accountant on the movie, and they were like, oh, you look perfect. Let's get you in the movie.
He was... there was no scene. They took him around, and they just beat him up.
He was giving them everything they wanted.
And it wasn't fast enough. So smacking him around.
At one point, they smacked his head down on like a row of computer monitors, just like bang, and picked him back up again.
Yeah,
he had more of that ketchup on his face.
Do it faster, or we'll kill you.
Yeah,
constantly. And then they finally get to somewhere at the end, and Michael Paré just shoots him 3 times in the back.
Yeah,
and I was like, you got so long. I didn't think they were going to kill him at this point. Mostly because I thought there was going to be another scene where, Seagal says, this man has no dick, and Austin says, it's true, this man has no dick. Right. Yeah, I thought it was going to be that scene.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. The William Atherton scene at the end of Ghostbusters.
The comeuppance,
Yeah, no, instead we just see a poor guy get the shit beaten out of him. This guy who's given his life to the, like, miserable job of running a fucking prison has to deal with egos like Seagal coming in and pushing him around. And then on the last night his prison's even meant to be open, he gets the shit beaten out of him for doing exactly what they asked him to do.
Yeah, he didn't give him any shit at all.
No, lost a finger.
But there was a scene, before where he was being a dick.
Yeah, there was one scene at the beginning of the movie
where you're supposed to think he deserves it, I think.
Where he told Austin to shut up.
Yeah.
And Austin was like, I don't have to do that, Warden.
That's a negative.
Yeah, that's a negative. I don't have to do that. Have you seen how big I am? I'll fuck you up. Yeah, he's great. So, I mean, my favorite thing about the movie was the action. I thought the action was really good. And I thought I thought it was nice to see Steven Seagal making an effort again. And I don't know what that is. I don't know whether he has become aware that people online are saying... Because there was about a 10-year point in 10 years of his like straight-to-video career recently where he is doing so many in a year that he doesn't stay around to finish movies. He doesn't do overdubs on movies.
Oh, really?
A lot of his fights are replaced with stunt doubles. Like... There was one we were watching, the one that, and I forget what the fuck it's called now. I think it's Driven to Kill or one of those that has Driven to Kill.
He can't go out for a kill anymore. He's got to be driven there.
Yeah, well, he's driven there like driving Miss Daisy. Morgan Freeman drives him to a kill. He just leans out the window and goes, shoots someone, goes, I can't even get out of the car anymore.
Where's the kill? I can't walk all the way across town. Send a car.
wait a minute, won't that mean you'll be driven for a kill or whatever? But no, it's one of those movies, I forget which one it is. And in it, there's a whole there's a voiceover monologue at the beginning and the end of the movie, I think to kind of explain the plot or to cover up some scenes they didn't have money or time to shoot or something. And it wasn't until I got to the end and I'm listening to the last monologue that I was like, wait, is that meant to be Steven Seagal doing that monologue?
Oh, you
and
couldn't
it's a guy doing an impression that isn't even... I mean, my impression's not very good, but it's not even as good as my impression. Some guy just vaguely whispering, doing a voiceover. And clearly what it was is he showed up on set, did his 2 weeks' work, whatever it was, fought a couple of people, and then went, that's it, I'm up, to wherever he was going, fucking Chechnya, to make the next movie or whatever it was, or to glad hand some despot that he likes to hang out with. And they'd had to get some actor to do a Steven Seagal voice for the voiceover. I was like, just don't have the voiceover, like have scrolling writing or something. And then there was another scene where his ADR was done by this actor. It was Seagal talking, mouth moving, but the actor was like a totally different voice halfway through the movie. So I think someone said somewhere like, you can't keep fucking doing this. This is ridiculous. Or because he produced this one, maybe he started like put more effort in. Because I noticed he wrote a few of his early movies. He wrote Above the Law and a couple of others, and produced On Deadly Ground.
Oh, okay.
And wrote and stuff. And then he does nothing for like 15 years in terms of creativity. And then the last few that have been released, he's either produced or written. Oh. So it's almost like maybe like his agent's gone, really, to keep doing this, you've got to start seeing these movies through to the end.
Or maybe the returns on them were not so good.
Right.
He wasn't making a lot of money back.
So this one, the reason why we're bringing all that up is that this one he really does. Like, he really does the old Seagal slappy hand fight moves, Aikido stuff, does some great kicks.
Yeah, he looks good.
I mean, it doesn't look good, but the fighting looks good.
The moves he's doing look good. Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, he
still looks like Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, I mean, at the end when he's,
when he's in full tactical gear.
He's full tactical gear. He looks like a bronze lesbian is what he looks like. Wearing dungarees.
He looks like a baked pear.
He looks like, it literally looks like he's in an adult diaper with shoulder straps. That's what it looks like.
At one point with his...
Because it's really saggy and it's hanging down around
really strangely... It fits in such an odd manner.
Yeah.
And he's got the baseball cap on backwards, and he kind of looks like, you pointed out, a catcher.
Yeah, he looks like a catcher from a baseball team. Yeah, that's exactly what he looks like. I mean, any minute...
pitcher, if you know what I'm saying.
Any minute, I expected him to stand up and go, strike two, and do like Leslie Nielsen running across the field.
Start kicking dirt on Michael Pre's shoes.
Yeah. Have I Love L.A. blaring in the background.
God. The scene where he beats the shit out of Michael Pre, so Michael Pre offers him a trade.
Yes.
He'll give... If he gets the information out of there, he can sell it for $200 million?
Half of it was going to be $100 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He's like, I don't believe you're going to give me $100 million. I think you're being less than sincere. And then he beats the shit out of him.
But before that, he said Michael Pre takes off his bulletproof vest.
Right.
And he says, as an act of good faith.
Yeah.
Both of them were out of bullets. They established that beforehand.
Yes.
He said, I'm out of bullets, you're out of bullets.
Yeah.
And they both came out with empty guns.
Yeah.
Bulletproof vest doesn't do anything to stop a punch.
No, exactly. Especially not. The best bit, though, in the whole fight, Seagal is like throwing him into walls and all the tiles are breaking and doors are falling off hinges and whatever. Like,
and
everything
he smashed a wooden bench
with him
completely with his head.
Yes, just smashed him completely. So he is absolutely destroying Pere, and what's great is there's a certain point where Pere is like pushed forward, just gets off like his feeble karate stance, like I could do it. Like I could, with like the hand up like that. Just does it for a split second. You think, oh, wait a minute. Pere's like about to whip out some moves we didn't know he had.
It's time for American Ninja 5.
No,
right?
Seagal just doesn't even fucking pay attention, picks him up, throws him against a tiled wall, breaks all the tiles on the wall, throws him into a fucking toilet stall.
I think one punch may have connected and done... I didn't even slow him down.
Yeah, I don't even...
It's like he didn't even notice.
No, Seagal is literally the bull in the china shop at this point.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or the bull in the men's bathroom. I mean, he really is just a a powerhouse, and you want him to be. Like, this isn't even a criticism. Like, it was nice to see him doing some stuff. Now, Seagal's weakness has always been at a certain point in his film career, he doesn't fight people who can fight back particularly well. Like everyone else,
right.
Stallone is a great example. Stallone will get the shit beaten out of him till he's almost dead.
Oh, yeah.
And then stand up and fight.
That's why Rocky works, though.
Right.
Because you're invested in him fighting back. Like, he's outmatched. He's not going to give up, though.
Look at his fight with Steve Austin in The Expendables, which actually, for real, broke his neck. It shattered his neck. He was in hospital right after that. You know where he gets, like, thrown by Steve Austin and he goes, like, the wire pulled him back into the brick wall?
Yes.
That snapped his neck, yeah.
Well, he's pretty old.
Yeah, but he's had, like, was fixed up, was, like, it took a week of production and then was straight back in fighting again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, if you watch, there's a great documentary on one of the Expendables Blu-rays, and I forget if it's the director's cut one or the regular one, but there's a great making of documentary, and yeah, he had multiple stitches on that movie, he had bones reset on that movie. There's one bit during that final fight where they go on the compound and they're blowing everything up and blah, 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 blah. He's like pulled a fucking tendon or something in his foot, but he's still running around on it and stuff. Like, yeah, it was nuts. But
that's incredible.
The best thing about Stallone, and that's one of the best fights in the scene in the film as well, him and Steve Austin.
Yeah.
But one of the things about Stallone is he'll get the shit kicked out and he'll stand up. Seagal never does. Like, criminals run at Seagal and bounce off his flappy hands. That's kind of what happens.
That's all that ever happens.
Yeah.
He's never fallen down.
No. And, well, no, you see, in his early one, is it the end of Out for Justice that he's tied up in the kitchen, or is it Above the Law? Those two blend together because they're both ridiculous. But there's one where I think it's the end Above the Law, where he has been beaten up and he has got blood on his face and his hair is unkempt and he is tied up. It lasts about a second. He breaks out and kills everybody. But I'm saying that there was a point where, because he wasn't a big enough name or even physically a big enough guy, that he couldn't throw his weight around. But pun intended. But now he just does stand there. People run at him and either bounce off the gut or get a flappy hand to the face.
His fight scenes are like they're written by Michael from The Office.
Yes.
Steve Carell's character.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, and then I throw this guy through a wall and then and I never look bad ever.
Yeah, right. Well, there's even funny enough, because he's famous for it, Fred Williamson, the Hammer, has a rule where he never loses the fight, always gets the girl, and there's one other one, I forget what they are, but there's like 3 rules of like having the hammer in your movie.
Okay.
Right? Which is fine, a little ego-aggrandizing, but absolutely fine. Who am I to complain about Fred Williamson? He's awesome. But I've even seen movies in which he, while fighting, gets punches to the face or a kick or whatever.
Yeah.
But he gets up and wins the fight.
Well, yeah, he's a good guy. He should win.
Right.
But there has to be drama in the fight.
Yes.
And there's not and Seagal's just beating the shit out of a guy who's clearly just helpless against him.
Yeah.
He's just kind of being a dick now.
He could have handcuffed him and like given him to the authorities.
Instead of throwing him into a bomb field.
No, instead of throwing him into a bomb,
He could have done anything he wanted to him in that scene. Because clearly he was in control of every second of that.
Yes, he could have had rampant sex with him and he would have had no choice.
And they were in a prison shower.
That was interesting. But then also at the end, even though this woman was like a CIA prisoner or whatever, and therefore the information was clearly government sensitive, at the end he was like, I have all this money and nobody's looking for it. And I'm like, well, if nobody's looking for it, why did we just kill hundreds of people over it, right?
Yeah, what was that about? I still don't know what what information was on that chip.
Well, they downloaded 200 million worth of Bitcoin, clearly. Bitcoin. That's all they want.
So they go into what they're going to do with it.
So he says, I'm going to give you half to, and he's like, what are you going to do with it?
And Austin is going to start his own security company.
And he's going to use half of it to like pay back people or something.
Yeah, pay back some favors or something like that. I don't know. It didn't really make any sense.
I don't know.
So then
maybe he's got like someone, like he's got to pay off his pimp or something. Like, I want out.
Gambling debts, drug dealers.
He wants out of the racket. For good.
And then Seagal, though, with his half, he's going to give $50 million
to the St. Jude's Hospital in
Memphis.
Where
did that come from? There was no mention of Memphis in this, was it?
No.
Unless he just whispered it and I didn't hear him.
No, I think like that's one of the things. I think that in real life, Seagal has probably either given money or been round the hospital or something.
Done charity work for them or something?
Yeah, so I think he's probably just mentioning it. But it was so obscure, like it was so random.
It's very strange.
Because he let Steve Austin say, I'm going to use it for a bunch of selfish reasons.
Yes.
Only to then turn around and be a dick about it and go, well, I'm giving my money to charity.
Yeah. And then with the other half.
Family.
Yeah. Gonna help my friends and family. It was such a weird line, like very awkward line.
Yeah. He said, I'm going to buy myself some things, but I'm going to give most of it to my friends and family. And then, but he was going to give it very specifically to St. Jude's Hospital in Memphis, which blew my mind. Because I was like, you could have just said, I'm going to give it to children's hospitals. Like, that would have been a line. Yeah. Would have still been a dick line to say.
I'm going to build a children's hospital.
Right.
To make himself even greater.
Well, because the dude, Michael Parry, had said to him, if you take this $100 million, you could build, like, children's hospitals in Botswana or wherever it was.
Something like that, yeah. Or you can do something in Mexico.
Orphanage
in Mexico.
In Mexico. So you could do a lot of good with the money. So Seagal was at an unfair advantage because Parry had given him the idea to be charitable with it. Like, Steve Austin was just answering, like, I'm going to start a company and give some money back to people I owe. And Seagal's like, you're a dick. I'm going to give money to charity.
That's cool. But what I would do...
It's so easy to be that guy. It's like it's like being around a pub table and someone says, well, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And everyone's always like, oh, yeah, I'd buy a speedboat and a fucking car and a house.
Two chicks at the same time.
Yeah, right. But then there's always some dick right at the end who's like, well, I would give my money to charity. And you're just like, oh, you fucking... No, you wouldn't, you asshole. You would maybe give 50 grand to charity and be like, I did my bit, now fuck off, I'm going to go take lots of cocaine.
Really easy to say that you would do it.
Right, exactly.
Until you got that money in your hand. And you're
right.
Like,
You look at these, like, the famous people who do it, and I have big respect for them and everything. They're always like, absolutely. Oh, you know, Bono does this, or like Eric Clapton does that, or like whatever, Ricky Gervais has done stuff, and you're like, yeah, it's great and all, but like, you're multi-millionaires. You know what I mean? Like, it's great. It's
fantastic. I admire that. I admire people who give $50.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
People who can barely afford it.
Sure. But, you know, a lot of the people, they do like those talking head things where they're like, give generously to the relief for whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that's fine, great.
In that case, their fame brings in more money than they could probably donate on their own.
I agree. But I always find charity odd because it's normally famous people asking working schlubs to give money to a situation that the government should really be dealing with through the taxes that we give them anyway.
Right.
Like there's that whole Feed American Children charity that Jeff Bridges hosts, which is great. But why is there one single American child going hungry?
Good question.
In the most powerful,
because the
wealthy country on the planet.
GOP just cut food stamps by like $40 billion or something.
Right.
I think we're off topic.
But I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, good points.
Yeah, sorry. But no, the end of the movie is hilarious. But it does set up the idea of a sequel, right?
Yes, which I would love. I would love if this was a franchise featuring these two characters.
Definitely. In fact, the very end of the movie, because we were chatting over the credits, they have this big logo that's never mentioned in the movie. I mean, Austin wears it on his arm.
It's his ST, a skull with a lightning bolt through it, I think.
Probably.
And then
that sounds suitably vague and actiony, yeah.
So I think possibly that's spelled Storm.
As in, like, Mason Storm, his character from Hard to Kill?
I mean, just as a production company, maybe.
Oh, okay, maybe.
I don't know. But it's just STRM. That doesn't mean anything.
Unless their character names were that and we never bothered to look them up.
I guess they could be. I don't know. But if they're Maximumist conviction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch that.
Or Maximum Convictions.
Or maybe they could only have maximum. Like convictions about being in a prison. The next one, they're decommissioning a submarine.
Yeah. That would work.
So maximum dive.
Divection.
Eviction.
No, they have, or you could just find other words that end like conviction with the TION, so you could have like maximum friction or maximum contraction or whatever it was.
Contraction.
Maybe they
friction we contracted something.
Yeah, right. But no, then their character names were just Cross and Manning.
Yeah, so
they didn't even give them first names.
Nope.
No.
Didn't need them. Too badass to need first names.
I don't need a first name, Johnny. I just call me Cross. But yeah, so Steven Seagal was one of my relatives. And
yes.
Steve Austin was related to the Paint Manning.
Maybe he was your real dad.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be fantastic? I mean, because then I could really sit down with him and get under his skin, really figure out what makes him tick.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other great interview I saw with Seagal was when he had a British interviewer there in his home in Arizona. And Seagal was all like sat on the couch with 15 cushions over his gut. And he says to the guy, he was actually holding like one of those large cushions over his stomach. And he says to the guy, I have 7 guns at any given time within reach. I got hidden guns everywhere. And the guy was like, really? Are you kidding? Like that? And he's like, yeah, turn the camera, move the camera away. So they move the camera away, and within like seconds, Seagal comes back with like an assault rifle. Like a fucking military-grade assault rifle that I imagine he just pulled out under his pillow or some shit.
It was under the couch.
I'm like, who is going to... And this house complex, I should call it, probably, because it's probably more like Jonestown than we care to admit, but it's in the middle of the Arizona desert. Like, there's nothing around it. There's like one long road to it, and then around it is just fucking desert, right, in the middle of nowhere. Who does he think is coming to his house that he needs 6 or 7 hidden weapons at any given time, one of which is an assault rifle that would probably see most things off?
Yeah, but just by itself. Yeah.
Just by itself. I don't need 7 other guns. But he's got them at any given time, secreted about the place. So maybe that's not fat. Maybe that's guns. Just guns.
It's a wad of guns.
Look at it, Seagal.
What if he just presses them into the fat? So they're just kind of stuck there?
Yeah, like remote controls.
Like fat just coming through the trigger guards.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, maybe he has like several teats that he has and hooks guns on them or something. Maybe he's a multi-teated person. I don't know.
Like anyway. Mother pig.
Anyway, do we have anything else on the end of the movie?
No, I think that covered it.
But we want a sequel.
Yeah, we want a series.
We do. Maximum Convictioner. Or Maximum Conviction, A Good Day to Maximum Convict.
Oh, yeah.
Or Maximum Convict with a Vengeance. Or Maximum...
Out for a maximum conviction... to a kill.
Driven to a maximum conviction. Yes.
Just got to keep decommissioning things.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, well, no, because at the end they have this whole dialogue about like, hey, and I'm going to need you on Monday. We're going to go down to South America. I got another thing for you. Like,
they got to decommission a corrupt government.
So they've both made $100 million, but Seagal's still going to put his life on the line.
He gave his word. You know?
How do you do a sequel to that if they've both got $100 million? Like, what is that? Like, it would be fine if it was a big budget movie. If it was a big budget movie where they both showed up on the next mission driving a spaceship or something, that would be fine. But, or whatever $100 million buys. You know, like a fucking, I don't know, twin fucking speedboat thing with like a cannon on it and whatever. Like, if they both showed up, bling and fucking leather jackets and whatever in Ferraris, that would be something. But you can't afford that on a low budget movie thing. They're going to show up in a panel van if they're lucky, you know. So
they're going to show up and it's going to turn out that Steve Austin got married and his wife left him and took all the money.
Yeah,
with her goddamn lawyer.
Because what did he say?
Steven Seagal,
you killed my future ex-wife.
Which one of you assholes shot my future ex-wife? And Steven Seagal just gave all of it away.
I gave all of it away to children, Johnny.
I decided to double my St. Jude's of Memphis donation to 100%.
Everyone who works at St. Jude's has now quit, and they're living in the Bahamas.
I got rid of childhood cancer. It ended because of me.
He gives all the money to all the people there, and the nurses are like, thanks very much, and fuck off, leaving all the children to die in a horrible, horrible hospital. That's what I believe that's what I think about the human race, is that if someone gave a hospital $100 million, they would just be like, oh, thank you very much.
Well, just go to the executives of the hospital.
Or it would go to the fucking...
Or the board or whoever.
Yeah. Oh, the board! Look out, the board! How is it? That's always in 80s movies, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to get the board together. Look out, the board! Dun, 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 dun.
The board's not happy.
Yeah, big, fat, white, jowly men. Yeah. Kill more people. Make more money.
I don't care. Laws.
Slavery.
I would say, like, working on set with Steve Austin, he should have got some stories from him, because I was listening to his podcast a little while ago, and he had Jerry Lawler on, another wrestler, who conveyed some wisdom that he was taught coming up. Don't make your opponent look bad.
Right.
Because if you make your opponent look weak, and then you beat him, well, who are you? You're just some guy who beat a loser.
Sure. But that's the last scene of this movie.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting, because I've interviewed Darren Shalavi, who's worked with him.
But Seagal was never in any danger from anyone.
No. Did Steve Austin even talk about him on the show?
Not on anything I've heard so far.
Okay.
I'm still catching up, though.
Because I interviewed Darren Shalavi, who's worked with him once or twice, I think. And I interviewed William Sadler, who was obviously the bad guy in Hard to Kill.
Oh, yes, right. That Richie, right? The crack-smoking cop. Richie?
No, he's the senator. He's the take that to the bank, because it's the bit where Seagal goes, I'll take that to the bank, Senator, the blood bank, which is the funniest line in Hard to Kill. So he's the senator, and he gets caught on tape at the beginning of the movie, and they kill Seagal's family. So he's like,
that one. Okay, that's the one where he goes into a coma.
Yeah, and then 7 years later wakes up as like Chinese Jesus. Because he has like the Fu Manchu mustache and the goatee beard.
That's the
and the long hair. Yeah.
He didn't grow a full beard.
No, no, because what we find out is that Kelly LeBrock, as his nurse, has been like shaving him or maintaining him, and also giving him a kitten. There's one point where in a coma he's like handed a kitten, and she takes like you see like video of him like with this Fu Manchu beard and this little kitten while he's like in a coma.
She's just fucking with him.
She's fucking with him. But what makes me laugh is that once they get out and like start to consummate the relationship, he shaves off the goatee. But clearly she liked it because she kept it. Like she would have just shaved all of him. Why keep the? Doesn't make any sense. But no, hard. It also doesn't make any sense how he's been in a coma for 7 years. But then when he wakes up and is wheeled around on the gurney for that whole scene after he wakes up, he's still able to like use his arms and
no problem,
no paralysis or anything. But anyway. Oh, yeah, I've interviewed William Sadler and Darren Shalavi. And, you know, Sadler told a few stories, nothing too incriminating or mean, but he told a few stories about, like, diva actions on set, you know. And Darren Shalavi said, whenever I ask the question, like, what's it like working with Seagal, people immediately tighten up, because they think what you want them to say is gossip. And I'm actually like, it'd be great if they said gossip, but I'm actually asking the question genuinely, because all we see is what Seagal puts out there. And what Seagal puts out there is hilariously ridiculous and egomaniacal. Like, it really is. Yeah. In fact, there's an interview with Seagal where he was asked about other martial artists, because the other thing that Seagal has done, which is not advisable, is he's bad-mouthed a lot of his contemporaries. Yeah. He's bad-mouthed Van Damme, he's bad-mouthed Michael J. White, he's bad-mouthed a lot of people. Darren Shalavi said he loved working with Seagal. He said he was a really nice guy, and he was very, like, you know, welcoming to him and supportive of him and stuff like that. But
cool.
And that's great. Like, I don't mind hearing that, but I want to get under the skin of what this really is, because
like how. Let's just talk about how weird it's got to be.
When asked about Seagal, Van Damme says, I really respect him. You know what I mean? He's a good guy. I like his movies. Like, even Van Damme, who's got clearly a big ego, has no problem saying nice things about a guy who just every opportunity tears him down.
Slags him.
And yet every actor I ask about who's worked with him, who must have stories, they've all been like relatively nice about him. They've all felt like, we can't possibly slag off Seagal. I'm like, why not? Like, he's going to be stealing acting roles from Sadler, or calling up like Hollywood Insider going, don't put him in Iron Man 3, Johnny. Like, he said something bad about me on a podcast.
Yeah, I would say he's got to have like zero pull in the Hollywood system, of course.
Right. I think they're worried about him and Joe Arpaio's posse. I think that's what they're worried about. They're worried that Joe Arpaio's going to like saddle the horses and ride into Hollywood.
Drive a tank over their puppies.
Yeah, right. Allegedly.
Yeah.
So
I can't badmouth Seagal. I have dogs. Dogs to worry about.
I have pets. Yeah. But no, all joking aside, he's really good in this movie. Steve Austin as well. Aside from Seagal's actual fighting, Austin is the best thing in this film.
Yes, he's fantastic.
Great performance. Legitimately a good performance. He's never going to be fucking Othello or whatever, but
no. He's got a character he's worked out, and he's been working on it for 20 years,
right,
or something. However long Stone Cold's been around.
Yeah,
and he's mastered it.
Yeah,
yeah.
He doesn't look awkward. Like, you look at someone... I don't know whether you've seen a lot of Daniels movies, or even if you've seen a lot of...
Nah, probably just the one. Probably just...
Or, like, early Arnie movies, or whatever it is. Like, when they come to it not being an actor, when they come to it because they're a bodybuilder, or they're a martial artist, or they're a wrestler, and I'm sure we'll come across this with other wrestlers that we watch.
Oh, we're bound to, yeah.
They don't have... Most of being a film actor is about appearing comfortable on screen, so that when you watch them, you're not awkward. It's not awkward.
Right.
And it's the same for stage. Like, if you watch people on stage, you can tell instinctively the good actors and the bad actors. The good actors you don't realize are acting, and the bad actors you feel embarrassed for them, right?
Yes.
And not in a condescending way. You're just like, oh, poor guy, like, I wish he could get this line out without sounding like a doofus, right?
Yeah.
And the same is on film. Like, if you can tell... The best thing about De Niro is not that he's like this incredibly gifted character actor, but it's that on film, he is who he's meant to be.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Max Cady.
Right.
Amazing performance in that.
But it's because he starts... Like, the note doesn't change. If there was suddenly like wild swings in the way that someone was playing something, you'd be like, oh, this doesn't match, it doesn't fit. And because you film movies piecemeal, like the beginning, at the middle, and the end, and whatever, it's got to fit together. Like, that's the skill of movie acting. And most people who are just saying lines, they don't come across so well. And it works even in the amateur thing. Like, when I've done filming before with just my friends, and we've given everyone lines to do or whatever. They're doing their best, but, I could maybe do it better than they do, and someone else can do it better than I can do it. But we're all amateurs. Like, some people can just do it and some people can't. So, although Gary Daniels, someone like Gary Daniels has a great career, longevity in his career and whatever, he can't act. Like, no one's even saying he can act. Like, even now, even having done like 80 movies or whatever he's done, he can't. His line delivery is painful to watch. Like, it's embarrassing a lot of the time. Steve Austin, on the other hand, I buy it straight away. Like, there's no... Seagal in this movie, his line delivery is... It's lazy. It's sloppy. It's not even what it was back in fucking Above the Law days. And even then, he was hardly Jack Nicholson, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, he's just sort of breathing out words.
Yeah.
He's not even saying them.
So it's when people say actors only play themselves, I'm like, yeah, but that can be incredibly hard to do. You know, you and I can sit here and talk like this, but I don't know that if I put a camera on you, you're not going to suddenly start acting differently. People do all the time.
I'd probably be terrible.
But people do. Like, you put a camera on people and all of a sudden they're like aware of their hands and aware of their legs. Like, I think I was talking to Mark the other day. You could hire a waiter who spends his whole night, every night of the year being a waiter. But if you tell that waiter to be a waiter on film... He's suddenly like, so how do I carry the tray? How do I hold the thing? What do I do? It's like, well, you do it every night. Just do it. But the moment a camera is on, people can't do it. The fact that Steve Austin can do it without you seeing a joint or a line or his real persona or whatever like that, that's a good film actor. That's what.
No, he's great. When I said he has one character and he does it well, I mean, I'm saying he sticks to what he's...
Oh, no, I wasn't knocking you when I said that.
Okay.
No, sorry, that wasn't attacking... I realise how that came across now. I didn't mean it like that. No, I meant that when people say it just about actors in general, like when critics and stuff say it about actors in general. No, what you said about Austin is completely right. He's perfected this thing so that it's pleasurable to watch rather than awkward or...
Yeah, and there's certain people who are really great to watch in those situations. Like, let's go Stallone. Stallone is great as Rocky. He's great as Rambo.
Yeah,
a soft-spoken, secret badass.
Right.
You know, who's gonna just take on the world if he has to.
Right.
And he rarely gets outside of that.
Yeah.
He did a couple of comedies that didn't go so well. Oscar was not a good one.
But I mean, if you watch Demolition Man, Tango and Cash, Over the Top, while there's a lot of comedy in those movies and while there's a lot of cheesiness in those movies, he's not Rambo or Rocky in those movies.
That's true.
Those movies. He's other characters. Barney Ross in The Expendables is not Rocky or Rambo. He's his own character. Stallone is more subtle about it. Like, you don't notice vast changes. He's not like necessarily like growing his hair or putting on prosthetics or talking in a funny voice or something like that.
He's not Daniel Day-Lewis.
Right. He's not like converting himself or hunching himself over or whatever, but Stallone is a great actor. Like, Stallone is a great actor and a great writer, and
he's written some really great stuff. First Blood is an amazing movie. I love that movie. And I was thinking of particularly to Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
When we watched...
He's got so much better. His last few movies have been, performance-wise, so much better than anything.
For this week, coming out today...
Yeah.
When we're recording this, not when you're listening to it.
Right.
We did Jingle All the Way.
Oh, right.
And he's
Is it Jim
so
Belushi
out of
in that
place.
movie?
Yeah, he plays Santa Claus.
Oh, right,
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Not the Santa Claus. He's so out of place. He's like this... The character is clearly like a schlubby suburban salesman dad.
Right.
And they just every once in a while throw in a line recognizing that he's enormous.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
It's just clearly not for him.
Right.
And he can't do it.
Whereas a lot of people who don't like the movie knock End of Days, but in End of Days, he's actually playing a character. Like in End of Days, and okay, it suits him because he's a security operative and blah, 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 blah.
Okay, yeah.
But in End of Days, his family's meant to have died, and he's like turned to alcohol and he's eating shit and blah, 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 blah. And
But he's still in amazing shape.
stubbly and disheveled. And he's actually playing a character. In The Last Stand, although he's like this Austrian sheriff in the middle of Arizona, he is actually playing that character. Schwarzenegger's got so much better. In
Arnold Arpaio.
In Escape Plan, Schwarzenegger's the best thing in it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I like a lot of his performances.
Right.
Through the 80s and 90s.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And I think like certain comedies or like Twins, love it.
Yes.
So good.
But what it is back then, the movies were better around him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the movies might not be as good around him, but he is great.
He's still good.
So it's swapped over. Back then, he used to be like the weak, unless he was fighting someone, he would be the weak link. But the movie would be great.
I always got the feeling, too, that he had some awareness that what he was doing was really a comedy.
Right.
Like Commando.
Yeah, of course.
Commando is a slapstick comedy.
Oh, yeah. You have to play it like it's ridiculous and overblown.
And I always felt like from his... Oh, that's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's fantastic.
And I've always felt like he played it perfectly.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree, man.
There's no winking at the camera.
No.
It's all straight.
Well, you can't. And those movies, those action movies where they try and wink at the camera, I fucking hate.
Yeah, they're dull.
In fact,
you get the like, if you don't think you're making a good movie, why should I feel like I'm watching a good movie?
Right. But no, I really liked Steve Austin's movie. We went on a long tangent.
We did.
There. I apologize. Let's wrap it up. I'll tell you what, Doug. What movies or what wrestlers do we have in store? What is it you're excited about showing me?
Roddy Piper. Gotta be Roddy Piper.
Okay.
Tons of that.
Yes.
Couple of Hulk Hogan masterpieces out there.
Okay.
What else do we got?
I already have some of the Roddy Pipers because I have like the movies he made with Billy Blanks. Have you seen them?
I've seen a few of them. I saw a few of them on cable back in the day.
Yeah.
They were pretty much new, I think.
Yeah, so I've already got those, Tough and Deadly, and the other one is Back in Action or something like that.
Isn't there one called Immortal Kombat? Do you have that one?
I don't think I have that one.
I have to look for that online. I think it might be a Highlander ripoff story.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper was in the worst movie we ever covered on Dr. Action, which was called The Bad Pack. And it was so bad we couldn't even...
I hadn't even heard of it.
It's terrible. It's like a kind of Expendables if Robert Davi was Barney Ross and Roddy Piper was Statham, and they go and like try and sort out a Mexican village. But it's really... I mean, it's just... Really, if I tell you...
It's the Magnificent Duo.
No, it's they have other people in it, but if I tell you that it was written and directed by Brent Huff, and he puts his wife in a major role, that kind of tells you where the movie's coming from.
Who's Brent Huff?
Okay, if Gary Daniels, Jeff Speakman, people like that are like B or C list action people, Brent Huff is like...
He's a D-list
he's
director.
Like his X list. No, he was in The most prominent thing I've ever seen him in, he was in 9 Deaths of a Ninja, the Sho Kosugi movie.
Okay.
As like a second fiddle CIA guy. But he made a few straight-to-video things. Yeah. He made The Bat Pack. I wouldn't suggest ever watching it.
Oh, I probably won't.
No.
The worst movie I've ever seen Roddy Piper in was The Mystical Adventures of Billy Owens.
I haven't seen that one at all.
Imagine it's basically a Harry Potter ripoff sort of thing.
Sure.
There's a little wizard kid who has a bumbling best friend and a know-it-all girl.
Yeah.
And it's mostly filmed in what looks like a small-town elementary school.
Right.
I feel like all of the people involved were from that town.
Yeah.
Except Roddy Piper plays a sort of Dumbledore role. He's got a really patchy...
How is that not fantastic?
Oh, his scene is amazing.
Right.
He's got a really patchy goatee, some weird floppy hat on.
Great.
And he seems like he's whacked out of his mind on, I'm not sure what.
Nice.
And he gives a couple of speeches, and then that's about it. And...
We won't be watching that, though.
No, it's a very dull movie.
Yeah.
It's not... I mean, maybe YouTube clips of Roddy Piper in it.
We've got a couple more Austins to do.
Definitely got some Austin. Some John Cena's we get to.
Definitely want to do John Cena's.
The Marine, I think what's one called 16 rounds?
12 rounds.
12 rounds.
Which actually looked really good from the trailer. I actually saw the trailer and before even knowing it was John Cena, I went, I want to see that movie.
The Marine is not any good, but it is fun.
Yes. Well, they don't have to be good.
No. And it's like everyone in the movie is kind of making a... It's a bit snarky in some ways.
Yeah. Who else has gone
from... But he's the only one who doesn't know it.
Who else recently has gone from wrestling to acting? Who are this?
I don't know because I don't actually watch wrestling anymore.
But you did? Was there a period where you did?
Oh, yeah, in the 80s and the late 90s.
Right.
Yeah. During the big Monday Night Wars.
And apart from playing himself in Spider-Man, did Randy Savage ever do anything else?
Not really, no. He was on Space Ghost Coast to Coast once.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, he played Space Ghost's grandfather, Leonard Ghostal.
Nice.
It's a really great role.
He's another one you wouldn't have been able to have understood what the fuck he was saying if he was trying to act.
Yeah, it's a hard act to work in.
To transfer.
He's not in any way, shape, or form like a real person.
No.
He's an insane character.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, are there any others?
Oh, let's see. Who else? Andre the Giant was in The Princess Bride.
Yeah, well, someone has suggested Princess Bride as a movie we should cover. I mean, I'd probably do that in a Rob Reiner retrospective rather than a Wrestlers in Movies retrospective. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I would consider that, although it's a great movie, I would consider that scraping the barrel in terms of wrestlers.
Yeah, trying
actors.
to attach it. Yeah. There aren't a lot. Sting did a few. Steve Borden.
Right.
He was in a few movies.
Cool.
So we'll find some stuff.
That'd be nice. Yeah, I mean, the more kind of like random, the better. I mean, obviously it helps when they're on Netflix, which Maximum Conviction is on Netflix, so you can watch it. Well, thank you very much, dude. That's very cool.
Thanks for having me.
I've enjoyed that immensely.
It was great.
I'm always impressed, like, when I sit down to talk about one movie, the topics we're able to... Because we could have talked about it in 20 minutes.
We thought we were going to do this in an hour, and it's now an hour 40.
It's an hour and a half.
The movie was fun.
It was.
I would say watch it. I would say...
Definitely.
If you have any interest in anything we just said...
Yeah.
We told you what it is.
Yeah.
If you don't think that sounds good, you won't like it. If you think it does sound good, then...
I just like the fact that Seagal's tactical uniform included sunglasses, a baseball cap, and a do-rag. Like I'm
pink sunglasses, I think.
Brownie pink, kind of, yeah.
He had yellow ones on at the bar.
Yeah. Well, he has a multitude of coloured glasses.
A rainbow of glasses.
Yes, he does. That would be great if you went into Seagal's dressing room. There was just a rack of glasses.
And they were on mannequin heads that had wigs and bandanas and ball caps.
But no, thanks ever so much, Doug, for being on the show.
Thank
you. You will be back on the show frequently with more wrestlers turned actors.
Looking forward to it.
And what's your new title again now that I've got to call you?
Oh, Minister of Grappling Thespians.
Minister of Grappling Thespians. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. And you can check Doug out every week at...
SchlockTreatment.com. Find us on iTunes. I'm at Dig Doug Frye.
Right.
On Twitter.
You keep changing it. It gets confusing.
I changed it twice.
You were at Harry Badface
I was
for
at
the
Harry
longest
Badface,
time.
and then I was at 100 Typewriters.
Which confused Dory no end.
Yes. Yeah. And then I finally was trying to find some iteration of my name that was still available.
Sure.
And this is what I came up with.
It was good. I like it.
All right.
It's like one step away from Big Doug Frye. but it's also Dig Dug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, Big Doug Frye, come on down to Big Doug Frye's car warehouse or whatever, that kind of thing. I don't know.
We got crazy sales. I'm losing my mind.
Although you'd be Maximum Doug Frye.
Maximum Doug Frye. Now I have to change it again.
I don't know that Twitter allows you to have that many.
That might be too many characters. I'm not sure.
Might be. But I might become Maximum After Movie Diner.
That's a really long name.
If this was a TV show, I would have joke credits at the end with Maximum in front of everything.
Totally.
That's what I would have scrolling up and down. So it would be Maximum Doug Frye, Maximum John Cross. The trouble is that the credits would literally be 3 things. Because it would just be you and me, and then me doing everything else.
Title of this episode is Out for an After Movie Diner, or Hard to After Movie Diner.
I don't know. It would have to be.
I guess Maximum After Movie Diner.
Maximum After Movie Diner. Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know. Or I don't normally title the episodes.
Yeah, we don't either.
I just do
we just call them whatever the movie is, because we're never going to do it again.
Right.
Except for the time that we did She.
You did She twice?
Yeah, it was our first film.
Yeah.
We were not quite prepared.
Right.
The audio was very bad. It ended up being broken into 2 episodes because we had to re-record some stuff.
Right.
And then for the 100th one, we were like, let's just do that one over, because it was an awesome film. Watch She on Netflix with Sandal Bergman. Fantastic.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, dude.
Probably won't do that again, though.
No. Except for your 200th episode, you can do She a 3rd time. We're really going to get it right.
100 benchmark.
Yeah, that's all you do. Is you just go back to the well every time. It's She Part 4. Although, wow, can you imagine doing 400 podcasts? Jesus.
Well, we're over 150 at this point.
Yeah.
We're on our way to 200.
Yeah. What are you going to do for the big 200?
I don't know. That won't come for about another year.
You got to sacrifice Matt or something at one point. Get an altar out.
I think Mark would be into that.
Yeah, get a goat's head and some scorpions or something. I don't know, something fucking weird. And
the Scorpions, the band. Oh, the winds of change are blowing.
Yes, indeed. I was thinking more like maybe like scarab beetles or something like they used to do in Egypt.
Grind them into a powder and
or put them under his skin or something. I don't know. But you need to do something with Matt. Come the 200th episode, just put him in a box or something. I kid Matt. He's too drunk. He won't even know I'm talking about him.
What time of the day is this? He's totally Rob Royd.
8:30.
He's on a Rob Royd rage.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, sir. Let's stop it there. Thank you. Like the show? Well, you can find our complete podcast archive over at amdpodcast.blogspot.com or aftermoviediner.com. You can send us an email at aftermoviediner@gmail.com, tweet us at aftermoviediner, or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/aftermoviediner. Or why not be a part of the show and leave us a voicemail over at speakpipe.com/aftermoviediner. You can also support the show a number of ways: by spreading the word to family, friends and co-workers, by writing us a review over at iTunes or TalkShoe, by purchasing some excellent diner merchandise over at cafepress.com/aftermoviediner, by donating on our website, by advertising with our website, or maybe you're a regular Amazon user. If so, then before you make a purchase, go to amdpodcast.blogspot.com, aftermoviediner.blogspot.com, or aftermoviediner.com and click through the Amazon banner ads. It costs you nothing extra, but they throw us a few coins for the trouble. Or, like the movies we cover, then buy them over at our personal Amazon store, also on amdpodcast.blogspot.com. Really, thanks everybody for everything you continue to do, and please keep listening. So, before we send you off, as is customary at this time of year, I normally present my Christmas single. And actually, this year is no different. I have written and produced a Christmas single, and it is available over at miskplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com. That's Misk, as in the shortening of miscellaneous, plumbing, as in the thing that plumbers do, and fixtures. Do I really need to explain this? .bandcamp.com. So please go there and you can find my Christmas single, as well as 5 or 6 of my new songs and about, I don't know how many, 7 or 8 old albums that I've done, all available for download, listening to, purchase, whatever. Why not support the show? It is, after all, the season of giving. But I am aware that I have spent a lot of the show, or certainly the beginning part and now this part, asking you to support the show or support people who are friends of the show, who are creative, independent people. And I realize that, you know, you listen to a lot of stuff and there's a lot of adverts to either go listen to podcasts or write to this or blah, 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 and all of you have got jobs and day-to-day lives and, you know, husbands and wives and children and, you know, illegitimate children and goats, cats you've trained to play tiddlywinks, step-brothers and step-sisters in Paraguay who are asking you to send them back pork rinds or something. I don't know. You've got lots of, you know, pressing things on your time. So I want to say, and this season of giving, I'm going to give this back to you. Thank you very much for listening to the show. It's absolutely fantastic that you listen to the show. It's even more fantastic you're still listening to the show 2 hours into the show. So thank you so much. And even if you don't go and download the Christmas single, it doesn't matter. I'm going to play it for you here and you can listen to it now. Okay? So enjoy that. My gift to you. Thank you very much for listening. Keep listening. We've got lots of great shows throughout the end of the year and going into 2014.
December 21st. Oh, Mrs. Claus came a-wandering, she is dying of thirst. The toy warehouse was barren and the lights were dim, and no little elves could be seen within. No. Went far back in the complex up at the North Pole. She heard a musical rocker syrup with funk and soul, yeah. Ooh, she took a few steps closer, this back was really swinging. Well, there was Rudolph on bass and old Papa Claus was singing, yeah. And he was also shredding a real sweet axe. The elves were on a bright piano standing on each other's backs, yeah. And Mrs. Claus thought, baby, if I can beat them, then I'll join them. And she sat right down at the kid and hit that big bass drum. Boom, boom, boom. Well, they're having a boogie-woogie Christmas full of rock and roll, yeah. They're lighting up the sky above the old North Pole. If you've been good or bad, this year they don't care. Said all will be redeemed if they let blues fill the air. And why bother with a present if by February you don't use it? This year Santa's bringing you some sweet, sweet music. Play one time, huh? Christmas Eve is just 3 days away. Santa says we gotta figure out exactly what to play. We're doing a whistle stop tour, every house in one night. So we better make sure we get the chord changes right. We're gonna knock their stockings off with a kicking fat beat. Oh, smiles in every home and all the cookies we can eat. So on Christmas morning, little Johnny wanders down the stairs. Yeah, when he looks bemused as the
chimney followed by a horn section. Then a real nice set and they get the whole place swinging. And everybody on the whole block is singing. Well, they're singing, let's have a boogie woogie Christmas. Let's tap toes and clap hands. And listen to some really funky music from some first-rate bands. And at the break of day, Santa and the elves are back at the pole. You won't need what this drink gets if you have music in your soul. Drink this, brother, may it serve you well. I can really beat this on what is gonna hell. You have to choose it. Well, don't say nothing apart from that sweet, sweet music. Well, don't you know that, baby, once it's in your heart, you just can't lose it. It's that boogie woogie rockabilly fine soul music. Oh, well, by the way, the gift, if by February you won't use it. Santa's bringing you some sweet, sweet music. Well, it chooses you, now you can't choose it. It's that boogie woogie rockabilly fine soul music. Merry Christmas, Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, it's a boogie woogie Christmas.
There are men, and then there are second unit podcast men. The podcast you've just been listening to is part of the Second Unit Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at 2upn.blogspot.com or on Facebook under the Second Unit Podcast Network. Our fantastic list of shows include Drunk on VHS, We Came from the Basement, No Budget Nightmares, The After Movie Diner, Dr. Action and the Kick-Ass Kid, and Bloodbaths and Boomsticks. Take one podcast into the shower. Don't be a blithering idiot, Alan. We can give you the multiple podcast cleansing system all in one place that your hair deserves. Our programming is available across all platforms from iTunes to Podomatic, TalkShoe to Stitcher, so you have absolutely no excuse. Listen today, and a free naked person of your choice will be shipped from Thailand to your door in a matter of weeks. The Second Unit Podcast Network, bringing you the action and leaving the boring stuff to the other guys. Bloody hell, who does a girl have to blow around here to get a decent beverage?